What is going on, Fortnite fam? Welcome back to the FNCS All-Star Showdown. It's your boy Zeke, and guess what? It's day number 2. That's right, we tested some buildings, or editing and aiming yesterday. Today, it's all about building. We've got Reese and Levin. They'll be hanging out with us here on the desk. We're breaking down the action between the games. Boys, it's time. It's day number 2. We have 2 more days on top of this. How you guys feeling? What's going on? Tell me what's going on.
Well, look, Zeke, if today is anything like yesterday, like I mean absolutely anything yesterday, today will be fantastic because yesterday was so much fun. I didn't know how much I need skill games and skill challenges until yesterday. Like I didn't know how much I needed it. I just need it now. I need it.
I'm totally the same. The double elimination format, the bracket that we had, created so many tense battles, both in Blueprint Battle and in Bullseye Bonanza that we saw yesterday. Today's formats are pretty much exactly the same as that as well. So I'm pretty sure, you know, 11, we're going to get that level of excitement that you were hoping for already.
Oh, man, absolutely. And today, we're taking it to high tier. This is going to be a test of the player's ability to build. Levin, there's a little bit of a twist, though.
Well, look, I'll be honest, Zeke. The big thing here is there is no room for error. You know what I mean? Like yesterday, we saw people, you know, maybe make a mistake on edit course, make a mistake, you know, during the Bullseye Bonanza. You can't make a mistake here. There are bots that will take you down when you're trying to tunnel and whatnot. You gotta be perfect here.
Yeah, not only that, if you end up messing up, the bots won't get you, but they might shoot your floor and get you eliminated down in the barrier below, which is really tough too. But that's for today. Tomorrow, we've got the play for keeps as well, which is a 3v3 scenario, which is going to be very, very interesting as well. This is, again, something we have not seen. We're going to have 4 teams total across this tomorrow, battling it out from Season 5 and Season 6 top 2 teams. So really, really interesting coming out of today and tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
And beyond that, right, we do still have that final day. Saturday is where it all goes down, the solo championship. Honestly, man, you know, Zeke and Reese, you guys sort of alluded to this yesterday, right? It's been a while since you've had high-level solo gameplay, and this is the highest of the highest level. You know, this is the biggest event of the year when you look at the prizing because there is so much on the line. The players are going to be dropping into the map and looking to end the day #1.
Yeah, and you know, there was, like you kind of mentioned there, it was Season 3, Chapter 2, Season 3 was the last time we had a solo FNCS, so it feels like a long, long time ago. The map had a lot of water on it at that point as well, so big changes that would come out from those seasons. Long time. It's always one of my favorite game modes to break down, to analyze, to watch in general, so I'm just happy to see it return.
Bro, it's going to be wild. This is the first time we're seeing a competition in the brand new season, so I'm excited to see how players have adapted to all the new changes, the new POIs, etc. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Now, guys, as we're getting ourselves warmed up for these games, the players are also getting warmed up. All right, they've got some rituals to get into mindset for the competition, so let's take a listen to what they had to say.
A game day for me, something to eat, and then I usually go for a walk. I take a shower and then I just start slowly warming up.
1v1 realistic or zone wars. I play a lot with other pros.
Hop into arena like 30 minutes before the tournament.
If I feel like my aim is off, I'll do more aim training.
Before big games, I'm not really putting my expectations high. I'm taking it like slow.
I like listening to like songs that gets me in like a good vibe, so I'm ready to play.
Sometimes I just take a shower, like to fully refresh.
Before a game, I just listen to some rap music. Like I'm just putting it like pretty loud to like get me motivated for that.
If I have a bad game in the tournament, then I always try to just forget it, think ahead, you know, and not think about the past while you're playing.
So I just kind of tell myself that I want to win it and then just play to win, and that usually like helps a lot.
Just focusing on my game.
I'm normally avoiding to eat like fast food and stuff.
Whatever my mom makes, it's always good food.
Be eating berries, eating all that stuff, just to make sure I have more energy.
I don't exercise before games, but I probably should, because it's better for my health.
I do like breathing exercises, so I stay calm and not get like shaky or something.
I usually just go for a walk.
Going outside for like walks or runs, I think is pretty important.
I'm not superstitious, but my tree mate Flikk is very overthinking of everything.
After 3 games, I always change my chewing gum. That's just like, I've done that for years now.
I can't wear long sleeves when playing. I need to have a jersey on.
Always before tournaments, I get kind of zoned in just naturally. If I play good, I do good, and that's kind of it.
Huh. Are we all superstitious? You know, I'm Levin, Reese, real quick. Are you guys superstitious? I'm a little stitious, but I was curious about what you guys had to say about this.
Yeah, I got my tournament rituals myself. Listen to certain amounts of music, get pumped, and they're not really superstitious. I just had to get pumped. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, to be honest, I either way, whatever ritual I put in or not, I perform badly. So there wasn't really no point of being superstitious. So I've not had the routine tested enough with success to find something that works yet. So maybe there's something that I've just not tried yet.
Bro, at the end of the day, you're successful in my heart, and that's what matters. Okay. In all seriousness, no, let's get ready for the competition. We got to talk about heights. We're going to break down what we're seeing our players got here. There's a prize pool as well. We've got it all for you. Let's take a look. Levin, how did these trios make it here?
Well, as you can see here, we have the top 3 trios from Chapter 2 Season 5, the top 3 trios from Chapter 2 Season 6, and they've selected 1 player each from their respective trios to partake in the high tier today. The other 2 competed yesterday, and there were 2 invitees, 2 players who don't meet that quota, but were invited to compete in the high tier as well, and we'll get to those players when we look at the bracket. So there's a total of 8 players. It's a best of 2. You have to win twice in order to move on to the next round. There's a double elimination and a prizing of $10,000 for first place, and moving onwards. Look, there's a lot on the line, Reese. I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys sort of compete to try and get that first place slot.
Absolutely, and these guys have already seen their teammates play already in different, going through the edits, going through the aim, and now this is obviously the build course that we're seeing right here. So hopefully that should calm their nerves. Maybe it's going to make them a little bit more nervous, because we saw yesterday a ton of nerves through all the different players coming through. But this is a good visual of what the map's going to be. We talked about it a little bit earlier. There's a starting off here with that you can exactly see a ton of 90s, then you have to tunnel through, then there's waterfall, and then you have to tunnel again, more 90s. There's consistently these bots that you're going to say they're going to spray you over and over, and like I mentioned earlier, they can shoot you in the floor, drop you out, and that's the round over. You have to go back to a checkpoint. It's a tough one, but this is the brackets that we're going to be looking at. These are the 8 players that we have. What kind of matches standing out to you, Levin, here?
Well, look, I think at the end of the day, most of them are very interesting because you have all-stars here. Genuinely, right? This is what it's all about. You have the best of the best competitors in EU partaking in these events. You look at JannisZ versus Freemok, Freemok being one of the invitees. Look, Freemok is a ridiculously, mechanical player. One of the most insane players when it comes to his just raw skill and mechanics. So how he fares against JannisZ, who is an FNCS champion, a 2-time FNCS champion at that, will be an interesting first matchup. Look, Rezon versus Savage, that's one to watch, because Savage is definitely a fan favorite, but Rezon is part of that trio who we all know is probably the most mechanical trio in the world with Vidil and O'Reilly. So how will Rezon do stacking up? His teammate O'Reilly did incredible, winning the whole thing in the Blueprint battle. Vidil, on the other hand, didn't do so well. So it's time for Rezon to make it 2 out of 3 for that trio.
When I asked you what do you think the most interesting matchup's going to be, I hoped you talked about that one. I wanted you to say that match, that one in particular, because that is the one I am looking out for the most by far. But honestly, all 4 of these matchups that we've got lined up here are going to be super, super interesting. One of the other invitees that we had there was Aqua as well. So obviously a huge, huge name in the competitive scene. If you've been following anyone, the GOAT indeed. If you've been following anyone in any of these scenes for a long, long time, you'll know Aqua's name. However, he's had some wrist issues, some tendinitis. So this is a building match, right? This is where those wrist issues obviously could come into play a little bit. Fingers crossed they don't. He may make it through adversity to perform very, very well today. So another player I'm definitely going to be looking out for.
They're gonna have to be careful, man. That fatigue is absolutely gonna be playing a factor, especially being a double elimination, right? The best of 2 times. This is a long one. This is a grind, but we saw a list of those players. One of those people specifically, Tayson, sticks out to me. And guess what? We got to catch up with him, ask him a few questions about the competition and about him as a player. So let's take a look.
Hey everyone, my name's Levin2k. I'm here for another player profile, and I'm joined by the amazing Tayson. You're obviously a 2-time FNCS champ. How do you sort of deal with that pressure? What's that pressure been like?
At the start, I didn't really think of that too much, but now, like people that are not in top level just can look at how people that are placing first and like good in tournaments play. The skill gap is getting like so much smaller.
What are the things in Fortnite that you still feel like you need to achieve to prove it to yourself, not even to anybody else, but just for yourself?
So mainly every season the goal is just like first FNCS. My goal is as well winning Solo Cash Cup, which I didn't do yet. So
It's funny now that I think about it, because you obviously haven't won a Cash Cup yet, and you are the FNCS champ for solos. Do you ever think about the fact that there's a lot of, you know, players and talent out there who obviously sort of like look up to you, right? Does that ever sort of play into your head, the fact that you are like sort of a role model now?
yeah, it's crazy to think about it. Like it's hard to have an ego now, like because everyone is on the same level. There's no like really good players. Everyone good is like on the same level. All about the confidence now.
Tayson, honestly, it's been a pleasure, you know, having you here, being able to get some insight from you. What advice do you have to players who are trying to be good at solos like yourself?
Look what people on like a really good level are doing. I think the practice is like really the main thing you need to do every day.
Well, I'm going to put in the practice then, and maybe I'll get on your level someday. I'll talk to you guys later. It's been 11-2K and Tayson.
Thank you.
See you guys all soon.
11, how are you in 2 places at once? You changed so fast. That's crazy.
You know, cut shape a bit in the meantime as well.
That's impressive stuff, man. Impressive stuff. We are going to be jumping aboard the battle bus and jumping into creative in just a little bit. We have time here to kind of discuss the course and your thoughts about how these players are going to kind of attack this, because in case you haven't caught on, this is like a building course. Maybe you're just tuning in like, Zeke, what's going on? It's new colors, new faces. 11 doesn't have his beard. Hey, no, we're here we're in this together, okay? This is a building course, all right? Created by some incredible map makers in creative. These players are going to be having to test their different abilities at building. There's going to be bots that are constantly peppering them with shots, trying to slow them down. So, you know, 11, if they're not careful, they will be, like, if they fall and they land on the ground, eliminated. They have to go back a step and try their best to make it through.
Well, yeah, and even beyond just the actual map itself, you know, these are top competitors. We saw yesterday, you know, some of the best players, almost like performance anxiety, do you know what I mean? You're hearing people talking about getting nervous. I don't want to hear a word from any of you top players that you are nervous. I understand it can be nerve-wracking. There is pressure, everyone's watching. But you guys are the best of the best. I want to see you guys go out there. And I don't want to see none of this giving up too early. Oh, let me emote because I know I've lost. None of that. None of that. I'm not having that. I'm going to come for you if I hear some of that. So I want to see the best of the best just going at it.
Yeah, I think like with the nerves, I'm going to counter that a little bit, because these players are high-level competitors, but they're not used to being high-level competitors in this specific thing. So they are absolutely nervous. It's a first time for them doing exactly what they're doing here. So we saw it yesterday on Twitter. So many of the players were really, really, really nervous. So I think they're not, some of them are going to be, now I don't want them to be giving up emoting just like you mentioned as well, but the nerves are definitely going to be high for some of them.
Man,
You're playing,
feel it, man.
You're
It's
playing it
tense.
safe there, Reese. Playing it safe. Put the pressure on them. They're the top competitors. Go out there. None of this nervous stuff. Leave it out, man. Leave it out.
That's right, Levin. You get him, Levin. That's right. Well, Fortnite fam, y'all know what time it is. It's time to be jumping in right into creative. We need 2 casters. It's Sancho S. It's Shy Wager. They'll be talking us through the action. So, friends, over to you.
Man, these guys are having too much fun, Sancho. We gotta catch up, so let's grab the clutch, kick it to max gear, we're moving on to high tier, and a whole new bracket of players, a whole new map, Sancho, as well. There's no editing, there's no shooting. The battle is building.
I think by far the coolest thing about this event is this was created by the players. When Fortnite Battle Royale first hit the scene, it was just all of a sudden you just had a shooting mechanic alongside with some builds. But all of a sudden people are starting to do crank 90s, build tunnels, and waterfall. And this is going to be a showcase of all that in this bracket. This is what we're talking about. 4 FNCS champions, 1 DreamHack champion involved as well with MrSavage. We are stacked to the gills with some high tier competitors.
No, absolutely, all the way down deep in the ocean with this bracket. And the first one we're going to be seeing is Freemok rolling up against JannisZ. We'll see exactly how that drops down. I mean, building all these clutch scenarios when you're outplaying people, this is what it's all about. They'll have AI shooting at them. You're going to have to waterfall, tunnel out left and right. You mentioned it, Sancho. Since the beginning of time, players have been curating this. This kind of means a lot to them to, you know, perform and do well.
And this is going to be interesting because we saw yesterday that one invitational player in Mitro was able to win. Can Freemok run up against the FNCS champion of JannisZ? It is a best out of 2 here. So let's see who's going to be able to crank up through the 90 stage. It's about 25 90 cranks right here to get to the top. Let's go in Heat 1.
I think Freemok actually got out of the gate a little bit earlier, so JannisZ is going to be a step behind, but has a lot more efficient 90s. Not even using too many builds. This guy's not using his wall bind, Sancho. He's only got ramps and floors.
Absolutely, that is a classic thing to do. Now you see the bots are popping up here, and you can see JannisZ just moving all the way through, making it look so smooth. No need to build a roof here, but you definitely have to bring the floor not only to traverse across the stage, but to protect it from the bot down below.
And I'm liking the tech from both players, going for that EJ dash, using the ramp to actually boost them forward. Freemok actually free falls first and gets all the way down below right now, and he's still moving on and on. He actually almost hits the ground first. JannisZ, though, skips a few layers and lands on a ramp. That's a cool tech, too. Avoiding to even put roofs above him. He's just focusing on the most efficient builds.
That EJ dash is coming into a crucial battle here on the snake tunnels, and Freemok gets taken down, and he will be getting sent back to the beginning of that snake tunnel stage portion as JannisZ is going to move through to the second half, and that is the danger that we're talking about, the analyst desk, that if you go down, the mistakes are going to be crucial because he gets sent back to the beginning.
Now let's see if JannisZ is going to take things a little bit easier or not. He's going to be moving all the way forward. He knows he has a huge lead as well. This is one of the most classic builds you'll ever see in Fortnite, the ramp floor wall. He's going to do it perfectly, going all the way up, making sure he's not going to get shot out at all. Spends the right amount of time on each and every single AI bot in front of him as well. And honestly, Sancho, from this point onwards, it looks like if he doesn't make a mistake, he's winning at least the first round.
It's going to be smooth sailing right here for JannisZ here. As you see, Freemok is behind. And the key thing about the waterfalls, Shayo, is you can't touch any portion before. You have to cross the line, because if you touch the ground, you will be eliminated. So now JannisZ here in the final portion on the left side of your screen. All he has to do is crank 90s, about 25 to 30 90s here he has to crank, and that's it. That is the most efficient way. Floor, ramp, floor, ramp. The only time I crank those 90s when I'm trying to do a sky base, Shayo. It looks like JannisZ here is going to take the first out of the two. And again, this best out of two. So if JannisZ can come back and win again, Freemok does get eliminated and gets sent down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, it's all about having the fastest time. JannisZ with barely even any mistakes. He only got shot once inside those snakes. He's all the way at the top without the use of any walls. JannisZ to the moon.
Woo! It made it look easy already. This is the first round here, first match of high tier. Let's take a look at some of the replays, and this is where Freemok went down. The bots show no mercy, and they're taking out Freemok, and that was the deciding factor, sitting him way behind, and JannisZ just made it look simple, no sweat here, easy cruising all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, you honestly underestimate the damage pistols do until there's 5 of them shooting at you and you've missed 2 walls. So I feel that with Freemok right there. It's unfortunate. You got to go for the risks, got to go for the speed, and sometimes you end up with a big crash. JannisZ, though, a time of 2:19. Sancho, that'll be the first time we see today on broadcast.
I like it. That's a very decent time, 2:19. We did see in other regions that the EU were unable to, break into that 2-minute. This is going to be a faster course, of course. Kind of weird to say that back and back, but again, this is double elimination, so Freemok is not yet sent down. It's a best of 2, not yet sent down to a lower bracket, so he may have an opportunity to at least tie right here in this match.
Yeah, but that's a very, very tough time to beat. You saw JannisZ barely even slow down. He was actually getting more ramps in for those dashes than Freemok was originally as well. So not only is it Freemok gonna have to basically beat JannisZ, but get a super fast and efficient time as well. No mistakes at all already. He built out an extra layer ahead, Sancho. This is looking a little bit of a disaster for Freemok.
Not even getting jump fatigue here, JannisZ. It's just making it look so easy. At this point, most competitors will reach that jump fatigue, and already up here, now pushing through to the tunneling stage. And look at that, E-dashing twice. The EJ dash looking really smooth and understanding exactly where the bots are. I think JannisZ is at an all-time peak performance here in this course.
Absolutely. He's actually electing to take a bullet every now and then because the shield will regen for each player using that risk-reward factor. He actually ends up hitting the waterfall first. Freemok is a bit more reckless with it, though, going all the way down below, but a little bit of error mid-air makes him actually got a snag all the way in the sky. Now moving forward, this is where he failed last time. He'll have to hit this perfectly and then really catch up on speed with JannisZ.
Right there, so close to each other. Freemok finally does not go down here like he did previously. He's looking good here, but you cannot make any more mistakes. If JannisZ wins this right here, he will send Freemok down to the lower bracket. As you see here, JannisZ has the most finals victory royales of all time with 7 in the FNCS. So This is where he is. This is a two-time champion going up against Freemok.
Oh, he's got the speed, he's got the, medals to go with it too, but there is no
Freemok go down
one-up
again?
over here. There's no game to win, and I have to assume absolutely Sancho because he's way too far behind.
Wow, those bots, man. Are they here to stop our competitors from winning the prizing? We're talking about $10,000 for first place. And right now, JannisZ looks like he's going to advance into the next round. And Freemok's going to get sent to the lower bracket unless a catastrophic, we always talk about fumbling the bag. Someone's going to have to snatch the bag from JannisZ here. He's not going to give it up.
Yeah, he's going to go straight up for the final 90s unless he slips off his builds.
Okay.
Which he might. Yeah. Messing up an edit, that's fine. Okay, now he is he's tripping up and fumbling. As long as he doesn't fall all the way down, that's all that matters with this tight pattern. I doubt that'll even happen. He's barely even jumping. So slow and steady, he'll win the race. He'll get all the way towards the top. Freemok left inside the dust.
I find it interesting. This is the competitive spirit of across all the regions. I feel like everybody's understanding like, hey, my time will be recorded. I want to be the best in the world amongst all regions. Right now, Brazil is clocking in some wild times as JannisZ does advance into the next round, sending Freemok down below. And it was no competition here. We thought that Freemok, the mechanical god, would be able to stand up against JannisZ, but it wasn't enough, Shayo. It wasn't enough. The tunnels of the snakes were able to bite Freemok and send him out.
Yeah, basically weighed his ankles down. No shot twice in a row for Freemok here as he's rolling forward. He missed one wall. Even on his way back off of respawn, he got sent back again. Freemok, you gotta build those walls around you, my man. All good though. JannisZ, he rolls in 2:25, a slower time than before, but we saw the fumbles towards the very end. He's relaxing. He's on vacation here in this first round, and he'll be moving forward inside that winner's bracket to see exactly who he'll face next. High tier though, it'll be Savage and Rezon up on the docket, Sancho, and that is going to be a very hot match.
Oh my goodness, the DreamHack champion, arguably one of the best solo players in the world, MrSavage, going up against one of the deadliest players in the world, Rezon. We already talked about it before. Noah Riley, the other teammate, getting a Battle Royale Blueprint Battle Championship in the earlier yesterday, and let's see if they could bring that back to the trios, return to the glory, because Vidil was unable to get in the Bullseye Bonanza. A lot of B words there, but a lot of excitement here. You know what was really wild going into the All-Star Showdown is we didn't know what kind of action we would get. This is the first time we've ever cast something like this as well, Shayo. And I would say it is the competitors that brought this event to such a higher level than ever expected.
Yeah, the fun factor here is just absolutely fantastic. Savage and Rezon as well. We saw a little bit of Savage yesterday rolling around left and right. Now we'll see Rezon rolling in as well, see exactly how he will do in the competition today as well. Well, actually, that was Ref Squad. I always end up with, it's trio season, making sure if I see one teammate, I think about the other. But let's focus on these two and how they bounce straight off the gate. Looking actually side by side in mirror fashion. They're moving up the same layers, the same angles at the same speed.
It's all about making sure you don't make any mistakes. Looks like Savage going with the traditional 90 crank, getting up to the tunnel stage here. Not a lot of EJ dashing here for Savage, just going to the traditional way as if he's doing an edit course. We'll see if that JannisZ technique will be that factor. And taking a look here, the high tier record from all the regions is 2 minutes and 14 seconds in Asia by KWZ Allen. So let's see if one of our EU boys were able to beat that time.
I don't think any of these guys even care or are thinking about getting the world record, Sancho. There's $10,000 in their region on the line.
It's a cherry on top.
Fighting for, you know what I mean?
On top.
For their focus, no, they're not even concerned. What's the other region gonna do? Savage, the only person in his sights is Rezon in front of him right now.
It's the extra clout. It's that sprinkle, the seasoning. It's that sauce.
Oh, he's still going to push forward for it, though. This man is actually making things really difficult for himself. Savage inside the tunneling here real quick. Oh, no, Rezon with the random ramp that's going to cost him, and now he's down to just one shot from a pistol to actually break him down. He's going to go into a habit with those roofs up top. Might slow him down, but he's going to make sure he doesn't get shot even once.
We saw that stat there that Savage has been the player that's been alive the longest in the EU region, and Rezon right now having some issues with a double ramp, getting shot a lot in the chest, but he's still ahead of Savage here, able to recover nicely and push forward through as he's ascending to the top of this course here. Savage about a couple of seconds behind Rezon, understanding that he needs to go up a little bit of layer, and that bot knocks him down just a bit, and Savage is catching up to Rezon here as they enter the last waterfall stage.
Rezon's waterfall are just really nice right now. They're just literally at the very edge of the ramp is where he's catching himself. That makes it super efficient and super fast. He rolls all the way through, and this time, Sancho, we're gonna have our first head-to-head for those 90s for the win.
I can't believe it. You know, this brings me back to the Chapter 1 days when we all thought it was all about how fast he could crank 90s. So this is talking about a flashback to the old school days of Fortnite, and these two big named, big competitors are almost height to height, almost going for it here. Who is going to get to the top? JannisZ here for the win is on the line. Savage and Rezon is so close, Shio. It's coming down to it, and Rezon touches the finish line. And that is match one against it. I can't believe it got that close.
They stare each other down all the way at the top as well. A match that went down all the way towards the final seconds. And that means in the next round that these guys play right now, it's definitely possible for Savage just to clean things up a little bit and get all the way there towards the very end. Look at the mistakes for Rezon too. He also didn't play completely perfectly, Sancho. Both these players can be a lot faster.
Exactly. There's a couple of things they could clean up here, polish up. A couple ramps, a couple, you know, just maybe some EJ dashes. That technique is in there, as you're seeing Rezon getting a time of 2 minutes and 31 seconds. A little bit slower than JannisZ, but okay, you're right, Shio. They need to focus on what's ahead. Don't worry about the socials or the world. Worry about the competitor that's standing right next to you, competing in the other lane. It's basically you're telling me to stay in your lane. I respect that. I respect that.
No. We could talk about it a bit, but you bring me one EU player who's more concerned about getting the world record today rather than winning, and I'll back down. I'll apologize. Right now, Savage, he's thinking about the second round. Rezon, he's thinking about being faster. He's not concerned about, you know, what's happening over in the Middle East. It's about EU for him right now, and it's about round 2 that's starting up real soon. Here it is. Rezon, Savage, they're going at it. JannisZ to the moon once again. They did it so clean last time, and they got to make sure they're squeaky in this next one.
Yeah, if you're taking a look at it as if there was like a blueprint of a perfect 90 crank, and right now Rezon is accomplishing that right now. But I still think JannisZ efficiency is something that a lot of the pros could take a look at. We noticed yesterday through the broadcast, eventually people were starting to pick up other techniques that the other pros were doing that they found successful. Other pros right now are watching to see how they can maximize their efficiency. As you're seeing Savage just doing that full box technique, you know, why not? Maybe we see the economy stare technique, that tonal, maybe. I mean, that could be the reason. You know, these are extra builds. A lot of these guys are editing as well. They're throwing in there. A lot of time that's being used here, Shio.
Yeah, the extra text too, you're absolutely right, make a big difference, but they're so hard to pick up. You can see it now with Savage and Rezon. They're kind of going back to their old habits, being comfortable first so they actually don't end up making any mistakes. Here goes Rezon. Once again, there's not really a bot above you that's going to shoot your head down, so there's no point in making those roofs. It's just comfortable for him, right? He's used to it, so it makes him feel faster.
Yeah, these are where the pros are just leaning into what they're used to when they're tunneling in an actual FNCS competition. This is the All-Star Showdown where you gotta understand where can you find these little shortcuts. And right now, no one's finding that shortcut, and that's why they're right at it right here, about to cross into. Actually, Rezon goes down. He went down at the last tile, and Savage now has the green light to tie up this match.
Yeah, I'm gonna dub it the Freemok Classic then, because now this is the second time.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
To the young lad as well. Savage is gonna be pushing the whole way forward. Wow. It looks like over here, you don't really need to double stack these layers. You're just gonna do a single one. Savage will move through, and now a waterfall down.
My man, we have the Mongrel Classic, we have the Skype Classic. My man earned a Fremont Classic here in All-Star Showdown.
Just for today.
Yikes.
Just for today.
Just for today. Okay, fair enough.
He's got the souls to see if he can clap back at me, you know what I'm saying? But Savage, he's going to go straight up this time. He's talking about even, you know, getting better times. Right now it's just about, I guess, being ahead of Rezon. One mistake, I guess, is going to cost him. The question is this going to be faster, Sancho? If Savage has done it, he's going to have the win, even though he lost that first round.
This is what I like about today's event. Where, oh, he does the emote of the 200 IQ and moves on through. But Savage, you got, I mean, there was a little luck, right? One missed wall, and that was all it took for Savage to take advantage and tying up this matchup between Rezon and Savage 1-1. Again, best of 2. So this is going to be the tiebreaker here. Who is going to get sent to the lower bracket, Shayo? Right now, I would say Savage has an opportunity to do it.
No, I feel like right now it's just 2 matches these guys play through, and then the best time is going to be the thing that wins. So
oh,
Savage,
best time? Okay.
Yeah, best time. So the actual concerning thing, I know we were kind of laughing about it, but that emote at the end, that might cost me a second of time.
You might be
know
right.
What I'm saying? Yeah.
You might
so we're going to be
right.
looking through. I want to see Savage's time. 2:24. I believe Rezon at 26 rolling in. So he didn't have a time for that emote to come through. And I'm going to call it here unless I remember the time wrong. Savage is going to be the one moving forward. That one wall miss from Rezon all the way towards the very end will cost him today, Sancho.
Fair enough. So time is going to be the tiebreaker here. So we're going to only see 2 runs and it comes down to it. And I can't believe it, dude. If Savage picked a longer emote, if he did like a L dance or something, that would have been the thing that sends him down. But JannisZ and MrSavage advance, and let's take a look at that replay seen on your top of your screen right there. Bang, gets eliminated. Let's take a closer look at the POV, and unbelievable. He got like tapped at the same time, used like 2 shots, bop, and that was it. It was done. Gets sent down to lower bracket by a bot. Feels bad, man.
If we're actually putting like FNCS format scoring on that one bot, I think he has 3 elims now and like some good placement. He has more points than some people who've made both grand finals right now at the moment. So this guy, if you guys are looking for an extra third, hit up that final bot. He knows something we don't about getting elims, but we still got more matches to come. Sancho, now that we've kind of thought about this and looked at high tier, is that bot, is that section of the course the hardest part of the course now?
I would say so. I mean, before in the early iterations of high tier, they actually had a bot with an RPG at the double ramp. After some adjustments, they had to take him out because he was knocking down a lot of people. So I would say, yes, that bot is the most dangerous person in the field. I mean, I don't know. He must have watched the Destiny Jesus video, understanding how important the pistol is. This man picked it up, and now he has the extreme accuracy. But now we're going to pick up the action here with another big highlight battle between Tayson and Flikk. Tayson, and 2-time FNCS champion, going up against Flikk, who is so close to capturing glory. We're talking about 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place finish in the FNCS trios alongside with Anas and Thomas HD. Let's go, Shayo.
I like from the start, these guys both actually set on a ramp and end up side jumping off of it to get an extra half layer of a start. The issue with Flikk, though, is that they can put the ramp down the wrong way, and it actually messed up his 90 from the get-go.
Can we imagine in the future, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, Shayo, but if Tayson and JannisZ went in for the finals, we're talking about our two-time FNCS former teammates going at it for that $10,000. A man could dream, but look at Tayson's technique here. He's just E-dashing all the way through. No walls on the left and right. He's avoiding all the shots.
I'm guessing he actually went down a single layer to avoid any bullets from the medium layered bots. I mean, this man is a genius.
I mean, Tayson and JannisZ are almost replicated their runs, landing in the same place when it comes to steamy stats, and maybe they're sharing their notes, they're doing their homework, they're rocking it, and what a great run, but that just afforded him just a couple of more tiles ahead of Flikk here on this run.
And that might actually be the difference. Flikk actually has a very good time right now, and he's actually rolling in pretty much perfect, playing the course the normal way, though. No text, no secrets, no cheese, and because of that, there's no flavor to it right now. That blandness is holding him back 2 seconds behind Tayson from what it looks like. Tayson moving in now with a slight lead, and it looks like even with these mini dashes over and over, he's only increasing it.
At the same time, Flikk building roofs on the snake tunnel, Tayson not building roofs on the snake tunnel, and Flikk was able to catch up. So Flick's mechanical skill is getting him closer and closer to catching up to Tayson. This is going to be a best of 2, and it has to come down to, if there is a tie, it comes down to the time. Tayson right now is going to make sure he doesn't get to that point if you just win outright twice.
Gonna make sure the waterfalls are just crisp, more so than risky and fast. Tayson actually messing up on one of them, so Flikk might actually be able to catch up. He was actually having trouble dropping down completely. This is where you can make up time, Sancho. Flick's gonna just have to 90 faster. Tayson needs to keep this lead.
It's just not possible. I don't really see anyone catching once a pro starts a 90. I'm just not sure. I mean, we've seen it on the descent when it came to the Blueprint battle, how people were able to catch up. But man, this is cranking 90s is in the Fortnite. This is what it takes. This is the first thing you learn how to do. I don't think anyone, once they get that lead, are going to give it up, and Tayson does not give it up. Crosses the finish line. This kind of reminds me of those competitions when you get to the top of the summit, hitting that button right there. But look at this. He goes right below and avoids all the madness. But still, Flikk with a great time right behind Tayson.
I mean, why stay on same floor and use more build when one below, and let's do the trick better? You know what I mean? Like, Tayson's keeping it simple, absolutely simple, and because of this, he has such a good record of time. I want to see that update what Flikk will have to beat in this next match. 2 minutes and 22 seconds. That is just too fast.
That's going to be tough. Not only that he has to beat Tayson in the next round, in the next match here, but he has to beat that time. That's just impossible. I just think how fast and efficient Tayson. Let's just slow it down. Immediately does a reverse ramp and drops down and just doesn't have to worry about only one bot that's down below. And look at that. Flikk was trying to do the same thing, but he was just not as efficient, and the execution was on Tayson's side on that run. But what a, hey, now everyone out there, taking notes, Shayo.
We gotta, like, I don't know, get those bots a neck massage, get them some glasses. They gotta be able to see exactly, you know, where Tayson is. He's right there, guys. Just look down, look a little bit below you. You can hit him. Let's see if he goes for that tech. Let's see if Flikk actually learned from it when looking at it and does the same thing.
This is Heat 2 right here. Flikk has to beat Tayson and the time of 2 minutes and 22 seconds because time is the tiebreaker here. Tayson going with the efficient 90 crank without the walls. Flikk going with the traditional 90 crank. I remember the longest time, every time when I would be playing, there was always a guy in my stream who would backseat and be like, you don't have to do walls anymore for 90. I'm like, slow down, man. I'm just here trying to have a good time. And Flikk now staying on the same level here. Oh my goodness. He's trying to avoid it. Going with a little bit of a quick tarp here. And that pays a price. The pressure was too high being placed on Tayson's technique. And Tayson now no doubt is going to advance.
Hey, we heard it from that interview with Anas. Sometimes Flikk, he's got that superstition. He lives inside the pressure, unfortunately. It might get to his head, and because of that, actually crumbles, falling on that second stage. Tayson is going to make it all the way through here. Unless he just makes a mistake, this should be wraps. This should be a free order.
It ain't happening. The reason why I picked Tayson to win it all is because Tayson's on social media after not having a successful Season 5 Trios run. He said, I want to find someone that grinds the game. I want to find someone that takes the game seriously. No doubt we know, and even though he's making a mistake there, Tayson grinded this course to the max efficient run, and that is why we're seeing these special techniques that no other competitor has done yet.
I'm wondering who's watching, though, because if I'm looking at the later rounds, I'm looking at Tayson for the rest of the winner's bracket. Like, did he bring out the strategy too early, Sancho? He's going to take out so many other competitors in just a little bit. If he falls, he has to go towards the lower bracket as well. I mean, everyone can just pick up these techniques. They're pretty simple, right? On the baseline, did he bring it out too early?
Yeah, they may be simple, but they're hard to do when it matters. I mean, that's... I don't know, man. I think we got to look at the replay, but I think Flikk tried to do that technique and kind of fumbled, and you know, you're not used to it. You know, pros are creatures of habit, and when you do one thing different, you change your landing spot, you switch your looting path. Before you know it, your whole run shambles.
What's not different is watching Tayson in the lead, 90 all the way up to victory. 2 minutes and 22 seconds was his last time. Now maybe possibly wondering if he can beat it. Looking forward to the other competitors here. Their times will basically only get faster, and time is basically money in this competition. The faster you are, the better chance you have of winning. And if you win, Sancho, you get that big prize.
Yes, and Tayson wins right here in this matchup against a competitor that had it all. Flikk going down, but oh my goodness there. It was just this moment here. Flikk was trying to go supernova there, just could not do it. The pressure was too high, Tayson was too fast, and the competition is still furious here, Shiloh.
Absolutely, Tayson. He's actually the man to beat for the moment right now. Flikk also having another mistake all the way through while trying to roll in. Unfortunate. Flawless though from Tayson, maybe just a few flipped ramps, a few weird builds, just a second basically, a single second off his previous time. He is looking absolutely scared.
You know what? You asked me to find a pro that would want to beat the record. That's Tayson. Tayson will be that kind of guy. I found him. I did it. I did it in a record time. Shayo, Tayson advances here. Now he's going to face the winner between Trulex and Aqua, which is the GOAT going against the current defending FNCS champion in Trulex.
Absolutely, and I want to see exactly what Aqua brings to the table. He's actually progressed Fortnite in so many ways from the early days in terms of how people play. People would watch him, the pros would watch him in order to know what to do next, how to further their game. So maybe he has some tricks up his sleeve, right, for this All-Star Showdown for high tier, because clearly Tayson and a few other people have their own ways of attacking it. I mean, Sandra, can you think of anything you could do that Tayson hasn't done yet to be at an advantage for high tier?
I mean, he's doing it all. He figured out a little shortcut at the beginning. He's doing the EJ dashes with that ramp boost. He's doing pushing forward. He's not building roofs on the snake tunneling portion. He's doing that efficient, economy-wise 90. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be just all about speed at this point, is how fast can your keyboard and mouse keep up with. I mean, I don't know.
No, absolutely, and we'll see exactly how this matchup will go through right now. Trulex, Aqua rolling through. Let's see what they have from the table out the get-go. None of them actually electing to do that side ramp jump. They're gonna just straight up go in, raw builds all the way towards the top.
This is such a unique matchup. This is FNCS champion versus FNCS champion. Of course, Aqua coming in from the Season X Trios as champion, and of course is the Duos champion as well. So this is gonna be so fun to see how it all plays out.
Aqua starting things off, but at the same time, actually messing up a few of his balls. The 90s aren't looking completely fast, up high, flying and free. He is actually adapting the strategy of going down though.
Goes down, gets tagged just a little bit. Not as clean as Tayson though, but as you see Trulex going with what's being done so far, not building roofs, so Trulex still being quick, but that technique right there, the Tayson classic, so to speak, for the day, is right now working for Aqua.
And the Tayson technique, so to speak, we'll put it that way. And Aqua will waterfall all the way down. He's actually going for that EJ dash of the waterfall as well at the very end. Now moves through, no roofs up top too, so he's looking to actually push the tech more so than the comfortability in these builds inside the skill challenge. Trulex, he's making all the right moves, but still making a few mistakes. He's slightly far behind.
Slightly far behind, and you're taking a look here. Aqua has won 2 games in each of the finals he's played in. No stranger here, having some issues here with the snake tunnel. He's not as efficient as Tayson here, which I would say Tayson and JannisZ are the 2 competitors that we have to watch going forward. Just like in the Bullseye Bonanza, we have Mitra and Mongrel as the favorites. But right now, Aqua in the lead against Trulex. So Trulex is, I'm taking a look at his builds. He's throwing in a ramp in there as well, Shayo.
I mean, he's going for the maximum form of protection, or at least maybe even speed with that ramp, but I'm not sure how the movement works just yet inside that actual maze back and forth, the, I don't know, zigzag of doom. Aqua, though, he's made like, what, 2 errors so far at the very beginning off of maybe putting a pyramid down instead of a ramp. He's looking perfect.
I think the only place where pros can maximize is the waterfall. There's something about it, of being on the edge, of taking maybe some fall damage, Shayo. Maybe that's where people could shave some time off here. Because right now, I would say Tayson and JannisZ have the most efficient runs, but there's something missing. I'm figuring there's something missing, and right now, it's the waterfall stage. I think someone will figure out that secret sauce to get them a little bit faster.
I mean, there can't be any fall damage. Every player is at 1 HP, so unless there's a way to take 0.5, I mean, there are some EJ dashes off the top, but at the same time, you're right, it could be the wave. These 90s, though, the faster they are, the better you can beat to Aqua. He makes it all the way to the top. He's the winner of round 1. And honestly, he wasn't completely clean either. The time could be faster. He still looks so scary.
Hey man, if you're gonna run through a course, you gotta get a little dirty. You're gonna make mistakes. You're going all your whole time. I'm talking about like right there. Maybe there's something right there, Shayo, where you could jump, adjust it, and catch yourself, and then scoot your way through. You know, this is where Trulex kind of slowed down a little bit, doing that extra maximum protection. I think he's afraid to be a victim of that last bot and be another capture of the Freemok Classic. But Aqua with a 2 minutes and 32 seconds. That's a very beatable time though. If Trulex is going forward into trying to get advanced, that's a beatable time, Shayo.
Absolutely, just needs to play this next one perfectly. You're talking about adapting text now and trying things to maximize your time. I agree with you. That's probably what Trulex should do, but it's so risky, right? One mistake, Sancho, and like you're gone. If you have to reset even one stage and Aqua just plays it safe, which is all he has to do, you're fine. Trulex, he played normal and he struggled. He's gonna have to play better than normal and beat Aqua.
And that's what we have to work on here as we're going forward. The World Cup Duos champion, Aqua, going up against the FNCS champion and Trulex. This is what's just come down to it, but I think everyone's rooting for Aqua. We always have one of those fan favorites here in the All-Star Showdown. You know, one of those veteran players that's looking to recapture some glory. Yesterday we had Benji Fishy trying to do that thing. We had Mongrel as well alongside with Mitro who was able to do that. But Aqua definitely is that fan favorite that I know a lot of people, like Reese was saying, is rooting for considering all the setbacks he's had in his career.
Yeah, and that old flame of glory never really ended for him either, right? Like, the respect has always been there for Aqua the whole way through, and the speed is still here too. He's down one level, he's moving in. Trulex is actually keeping up with him. This might actually come down to time, Sancho, if these guys don't make a mistake.
And that's what the mistakes we've been seeing have been costing our competitors here. And you're seeing Aqua's being a little bit more aggressive here on the free fall, a little bit faster than Trulex. Nicely done. This is where Aqua needs to clean up, right here, the snake tunneling. Maybe when he's on a cooldown, waiting for the next match. If you keep winning, you could do that. This right here is going to be crucial. If he wants to win it all, if his fans want to see him capture that flame, Aqua needs to clean that up.
Yeah, the waterfalls, it definitely seems that like Trulex is slightly further behind on him, and he's putting those ramps still in there instead of using a wall, which I feel like has to be the slower choice now because he's slowly falling further and further behind Aqua.
I think it's an experience. No, bro, no. Aqua does not place a floor, and that's an automatic elimination when you touch that ground there. It's almost like a penalty, and Trulex is going to take advantage. So now it's all question is, can Trulex beat Aqua's time?
I feel like after looking towards the right, Trulex seeing what happens, his posture kind of went up, or in our case, like
got his game
bent down a little bit. You know what I mean? And look at him now. Look at his form. He's looking confident. He's moving forward fast. Let's check out these waterfalls. Are they going to be crisper? Here we go. A nice one to start off, and he's already in his groove. Usually it takes him 4 to 5 to get this fast. He's done it in 2 or 3. He's already touched down. No mistakes on these 90s. He's looking for a faster time than 2:32 Sancho, and he's on his way to staying inside the winner's bracket.
I think this might be it. Like I mentioned, it's a beatable time, 2:32, and Trulex is on fire. No jumps here. Man, I always like it when someone cranks a 90 like this. It's a little difficult to do. Your timing has to be perfect, and Trulex has to beat that time here as he's going up to the finish line when Aqua just decides to stay plant here, relying on his previous time that hopefully the ghost of Aquas could beat Trulex, and maybe that mess up right there. Let's take a look here at the results.
He makes the final sprint look like a slight jog. It'll be Trulex who ends up winning up that round 2. But the question is, who had the faster time? 2:32 was to beat. Look at the replay there. Both these guys neck and neck. We're praising Aqua right now, Sancho, in the past. Wow, look at his waterfalls. Look at his moves. They're so nice, so clean. And then he messes up.
Yeah, and I guess with Trulex, that maximum protection here, this is the mistake in the replay that Aqua made. The floor, we're talking about one floor here, could send them down to the lower bracket, but all eyes are on the results here. And after that, Aqua just said, all right, dude, it's all good. I'm fine being here. This is not in real time. We fast forward and there's no way anyone can move that supersonic speed. But let's take a look. It's not enough.
Wow, so Aqua at the end, you know, he felt kind of bad, just wanted a hug, only had a bot to really give one to, and just knew at the end of the day, too, that he had a faster time, so he rolls in 2:32. He'll be moving on in the bracket, Sancho. That's why speed matters.
Speed matters, and most importantly, you have to cover your mistakes as much as possible because there will be a bot, you will get penalized and send you back. So much has already been happening. We're seeing some techniques come out. We need to take it to the analyst desk to break it all down.
Guys, thank you so much. You're incredible as always. My goodness, Sancho's right. Reese, Levin, the tech we're seeing right now, I think that's my favorite part of all of these skill challenges, right? Like, when you're aiming, it's kind of like, okay, can you aim yes or no? Even editing is like, you're going to edit the same, but the building portion, being able to kind of adapt, like, for example, JannisZ roaming around and just EJ dashing at every waking moment. I mean, it's impressive stuff.
Yeah, and JannisZ has been the one that's impressed me the most. You know, you look at it, Fortnite, you know, high-tier player, #1, you know, JannisZ got the steady hand. You know, speaking of people who don't have steady hands, right, we saw so many people going down. We saw so many people messing up. JannisZ is here, time 2:19. That's the fastest time we've seen so far. But Reese, all of the people who were just getting eliminated, dropping down, getting taken out by the bots, like, you gotta, come on, like, you gotta fix up a bit, practice the map a bit more or something. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, this is the location that a lot of these players were struggling with, which was the snake tarping section in particular, because here there's two difficult parts, being shot in the back, being shot in the front, but also, as you saw, Aqua a little bit just missing a floor as well. This is not forgiving at all. Remember, if they headshot you, that's over 50 damage, so, and you've only got 101 HP at all. Flikk actually said himself he could run through this course full sprint without being eliminated, and clearly that was not true. He managed to be eliminated twice in the same round, unfortunately, and there was the Aqua one I was talking about, missing the floor. It is so unforgiving if you just make a single mistake.
Why they gotta do my man Aqua like that? Just showing the replay of going down. Oh no, it's bad. But no, honestly, we saw some crazy stuff. The Tayson trick that he sort of whipped out there, that one was interesting, because I personally didn't know that myself. I'm sure a lot of people at home didn't realize you can literally just drop down and just avoid the bots completely and just easily dash along. This would have helped out some people, because you can see here Flikk actually went down. If he had just used Tayson's trick, maybe that wouldn't have happened. But look, that was an amazing trick, Reese.
Yeah, you know, I think honestly, Tayson in that was just too hard to beat. And you can see, right, obviously he ended up beating out Flikk in match 3, but some of the other matchups were coming up against JannisZ versus MrSavage. Honestly, I got to give this one to JannisZ. His time was 2:19, by far the best that we've seen so far. Then Tayson and Aqua again in match number 2. I'm going to have to go with Tayson.
Yeah, I agree with you on both of them. I think Tayson should dispatch of Aqua relatively quickly. And yeah, it's going to just be a battle between Tayson and JannisZ, the guild boys, to see who can go out on top. Regardless, though, interesting matchups, because MrSavage won't go down without a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think Savage could do it. I think Aqua could do it as well. I mean, look, it was a few flubs along the way, right? That's not indicative of his total building skill set, right? It was just a mistake. Sometimes that happens in life. What can you do but adapt and be better than you were yesterday? Boom. Life, knowledge on your domes. But you know what, friends? No, I know what you want to see. More action, more building. So we're going back over to the caster. Sancho, Shire Wager. Back over to you, boys.
One simple trick can basically change everyone's kind of, you know, trajectory inside high tier, and right now Tayson is leading that pack, Sancho.
I think that technique, it was just mind-blowing in the sense of like it's like literally thinking out of the box. That's exactly what happened, and Tayson was able to do that. But now he's given the blueprint, like you mentioned. Did he show the ace up his sleeve too early here? Well, we're gonna catch up with the upper bracket soon. We're gonna go back to the lower bracket down below. It's gonna be a battle here between Freemok and Rezon. Who do you got, Shayo?
For me, I'm looking at Freemok here right now because he's already ready with the tech. The side jump off the start, he's going to actually be slightly higher. Yep, there it is against Rezon, and looking good right now to start things off.
It's all about those little techniques, those small moments at one layer, but I have to concern myself with the Freemok Classic that's showed its ugly head here, so to speak. That bot has, I guess, a bounty out for Freemok, and Freemok has to be careful as Rezon now picks the technique, and Rezon goes down again. Rezon unable to execute the playbook from Tayson to a T, and now he has to be penalized and sent back to the start of the stage. And Freemok here, you have a green light to be first.
I think he's got his own technique here for this entire side, at least the first part of the competition. He's staying so close to the left side of his builds, the right bots aren't actually activating and shooting him. So he only has one wall to cover. He's putting a ramp down to EJ Dash the whole time and keeping his builds that much more efficient. Still moving through, still taking no damage up until that part. There's the shot. This is the Freemok Classic. He doesn't want to happen. Makes it through.
All right.
No bullets to the dome.
Wait.
He's looking good.
One more. He has one more tunnel. It's this last bot. Here he comes as we're seeing Rezon here a little bit way behind at the moment. I'm hearing some damage a little bit damage go through, but Rezon has been getting taken down by bots as well, making through the first portion here of the snake tunnels. Still building roofs, but maybe, Shayo, if you're so fast, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't build a roof or you don't. You just blaze on through, as Freemok is already almost through the double ramp portion.
Now this is the part where everything's just kind of even. You're just testing consistency here on your ramp floor wall. And now it's time for the waterfall. Freemok's going straight forward, hasn't messed it up really just yet. He can even play it so safe. He's got the most comfortable pillow, the safety cushion between him and Rezon right now.
It's literally made out of goose feathers. That's how comfortable this pillow is for Freemok, this lead here. He's looking really solid. The thing is just showing you one mistake in this high tier battle will essentially cost you the entire run, and Freemok's gonna take advantage of that. And at this point, Shayo, it's just about putting up a time that Rezon cannot beat. So Freemok still has to put the pedal to the metal. He still has to race to the finish line as fast as possible.
He's going straight forward all the way towards the top. The time is the thing that will be the difference at the end of the day. Rezon basically not being able to even play this one without fast. Freemok does it, and he's going straight to the top. Doesn't have any editing juice left towards the very end. But he made that look really, really clean compared to before.
Oh, I see the mistake that happened. Rezon went down 2 floors. Went down 2 floors and went right up against the other bot, getting taken out. It's one reverse ramp, sir. And then you EJ dash your way through. And let's see if Rezon could clean that up here and put a time that could maybe beat Freemok. And the time is 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Is it beatable? I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of speedy. That's kind of fast.
It's kind of fast.
I was like, if he's near 230, if he's near, 226, then it could be beatable. But 224, that's kind of tight. It's like not touchable right now. I mean, Rezon's not only gonna have to hit the proper techs, he's got to be fast.
JannisZ's speed right now, that is the high point of the entire day, is 2 minutes and 19 seconds. So that's about 5 seconds off. I think you're right. Rezon has to reach into the bag, and we've just been seeing that the technique for Rezon there is just a little extra. And right now, you can't be a little extra if you want to be that guy, Shayo.
Yeah, there has to be no need for greed here on Rezon's side. Maybe even stick to the classic way of rolling things. The time will have to be faster than 2:24. So here goes Rezon. He's building his way all the way towards the very tippity top. And now the 90s are looking clean, no mistakes, and he can't afford any at all. If you want a subpar time below 2:30, Sancho, you can't even misplace a single build.
Here it is. He decides, yes, he learns right there, understands it wasn't 2 walls, he wasn't supposed to waterfall his way through, and now he's gonna EJ dash here ahead as we look at Freemok here in front of us. I think he's still on the layer right now, and Rezon, as you can see, a little bit of hiccups down below. Literally had to do almost a full tarp, and now they are tied up here. But again, Rezon has to have literal tunnel vision and not worry about what Freemok is doing right now.
Oh my God, he's literally skating off of these builds every single.
See what I mean? Like,
see? Now he's down below. That, yeah, you were right. That's where you can make up a lot of time, and that was very clean from Freemok.
So clean, maximizing the EJ dash and understanding how that fall damage works. And I mean, it's insane. When you're talking about these pros, they understand, like, look, I could take this, I could do that, I could cut a corner here. That is what we're talking about right now, as Rezon right now has to find those corners to cut, or he's going to be cut himself from the competition.
2:24 time to beat, and Freemok even looks faster than before, other than the mistakes all the way from the very start. So let's see exactly who's ready, who's up for grabs. Rezon will have to beat Freemok no matter what, even if you have somewhat of a faster time or whatever it is. If you end up winning both at the same time, right, you end up moving on. So Freemok will still continue to move forward. Actually ends up getting stopped at the very end. That lets Rezon catch up, and now things are really close. Here comes a waterfall side by side. Who can touch the ground first? Freemok's trying, he's skating off. Rezon is doing the very same thing, and it looks like almost, ooh, they touched the ground at almost the same time.
Freemok was able to catch up to Rezon there on the waterfalls. And if Freemok crosses the line first, it doesn't matter how fast Rezon could finish. Rezon will be out. And we're taking a look here. They're very, very close to it. But Freemok shaking off those nerves, shaking off the bots, not getting eliminated, understanding what's on the line. is so close here, and yes! He just peeks his head through the finish line and gets the dub, sending Rezon out of the high tier battle.
And I'm wondering what the time looks like too. If he was even faster than before, that's good for the rest of that lower bracket, right? Everyone's gonna be coming in, learning from mistakes, using the Tayson technique, making sure they don't get hit by the bots all the way down to the floor as well. So the competition from this point onward, Sancho, it only gets tougher.
I gotta know, what is the Freemok technique? That first waterfall was so glorious. It looked picture perfect. I gotta see how he able to do that. Freemok advances with a time of 2:23.
Okay.
So inching his way closer and closer to that 2:19, shaved off a couple of seconds. But wow, what a statement made by Freemok as he advances.
Yeah, Rezon's gonna be able to go home. He's gonna take that last place slot for now. We'll have Flikk and Trulex rolling in after the fact and seeing exactly who is gonna be faster rolling into high tier. Freemok, I'm liking the potential. I'm liking the way he's learned after just losing once over to JannisZ. So, I mean, this is gonna be really, really fun to watch, at least from the lower bracket side. The Elite 2, Sancho, you can't forget Tayson, JannisZ, Aqua. These guys all have their special ways of attacking high tier, and they're still yet to play in the winners matches.
Yeah, it looks like Freemok will face the loser of JannisZ and Savage. I think Freemok, if Savage gets sent down, will have the advantage of that. But now we're on board with Flikk and Trulex here. This is going to be interesting. We've seen, it's kind of interesting in these lower brackets here, Shio. This is where it gets closer. We've been saw yesterday that it becomes the photo finishes where it becomes very tight in the competition here. So Trulex and Flikk here are very close in skill. Let's see who is able to squeak on through and get that first victory.
Flikk started with that side jump. We'll see exactly how he rolls. Trulex will try to roll with it as well. We'll see exactly where he rolls with these 90s too. Both players actually hitting the top at almost the same time. Trulex slightly further behind. Flikk will choose to stay all the way up here, and this is where he got eliminated last time, Sancho. When he was in the spot, it was so tough. He was getting shot from all sides, and he actually went down.
Yeah, Flikk, even though the social media, you could always say one thing, but what actually may happen is different. Flikk is getting eliminated by the bots, but he definitely wants to stay in the competition, not get eliminated by Trulex. As you see, Trulex is trying to do the Tayson technique, still a little bit rough. It's like, hey man, if I gave you a recipe to cook a pie, my pie is not gonna be as delicious as Betty Crocker's pie. You know, there's gonna be some things that's it'll be questionable things in the pie, but at least it may be edible. I don't know, that jury's out.
Yeah, not as juicy. Flikk, though, he's taking a beating moving through at least this section of bots. He's going to move over to the next ones, too, and hopefully make that a little bit cleaner. He's not going to be able to regen all his HP right now, so if he takes even a few more bullets, he might go down. Here it is, the final test. This is where a lot of people can mess up. Half HP. Trulex almost going down to a quarter. I mean, these guys have very different approaches to this, Sancho. Trulex is actually building in front of him, while Flikk is moving through his builds.
Yeah, that's so interesting how Trulex, I mean, I'm sure if you put that technique side by side, I think it'll be a little bit slower. As you see, Trulex is behind here, and I love the double ramp. Oh, it just brings me back to the Chapter 1 days when someone shoots at you, Shio, you just turn around and you just double ramp your way. What a good flashback. As you're seeing here, Flikk's teams have the best average of placement when competing in the EU region. And hey, why don't we just put Flikk, Anas, and Thomas HT have the best average placement competing in the EU?
Yeah, these guys have stuck together for so long, and they always like to learn as well from that loss. And very nice adjustment. They're on the 90, but a little bit of a skip, and that might affect his total time. I don't think it'll affect his rate of winning here in this first round, at least. I mean, Flikk, he has got the moves.
Despite Trulex being a high ground king, right now is so much lower than Flikk right now. Flikk going all the way to the top, cranking 90s. Let's see what time does he get. That was a pretty speedy time and a very great performance from Flikk, getting the first win here in this matchup. Again, the loser will be sent out of the competition. Trulex here trying to do the Tayson technique, stumbling out of the blocks here, but it's right here. It's the snake portion here, Shio, that hurts Trulex.
I mean, he was taking a few shots left and right. The approach of building in front of you might even cost a little bit more time. Let's play a minigame though, Sancho, for Flikk here. I'm thinking 227 for the time. What about you?
So, you know what? I'm gonna one-up you. 228, brother. You know what I mean? Oh,
Oh, hey, 219, hold up. This man was super fast. Okay, we're disrespecting him right now.
Wow.
That was almost
Okay.
perfect. One of the fastest times we've seen. I believe that
It
record
ties.
is 214 we've been seeing so far in Asia by KWZ
Yes.
Allen. So, I mean, he's very close to breaking that. At the same time, he's got one more round to repeat it. If Trulex is somehow faster, and we know it's possible, Sancho, right? Because it's been done before, then Flikk is in trouble.
That does ties JannisZ's record of 219 in the EU region. So one of the fastest times right here is going to come down to milliseconds. We'll see what happens here, but that's just going to put way too much pressure on Trulex. He's going to have to outperform anyone that's ran this course in order to advance and avoid elimination.
It'll be both of them rolling towards the top. Flikk gets there once again first. Messes up a little bit, but Trulex is still actually behind him. Drops down. Let's see if the EJ dashes are faster. He's going to be trying to catch up. They look so goofy from this angle because way back in the day, those dashes got you so much more far across.
Oh, yeah.
That's
they
actually
did.
what's in my mind. And right now,
Yep.
it's like they're stutter stepping. It looks so silly, but hey, it works.
Hey man, anything, any moment, any multiple steps you don't have to take. I remember those days where you're like stuck in storm. You're like, well, here we go. You just pulled out that ramp dash. And as soon as I figured out that ramp boost, EJ dash, I swear, Shayo, it gets balanced. And I'm like, oh man, back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board, no free movement for us. These guys are looking for any type of free way to get an advantage against each other. Trulex now is actually choosing to move in and through his builds, and because of that, has actually made up a lot more time. Look at this. He's looking
There we go.
moving free right now.
He's taking a lot of damage, but he's doing a lot better in speed. And speed's the name of the game here in high tier. Just avoiding that extra ramp that he was putting down just made him go a little bit slower because his character was moving up vertically versus horizontal, and that's what you want to do on the snake tunnel portion.
But Flikk is still in the lead. My man can't keep up, and Flikk is just taking the whole thing all the way away. Trulex, he's trying to catch up. There's not really much you can do over here, though, when you're building all the way towards the top. It's about the waterfall where you can make up the difference. Flikk, as he falls, starts off a little bit slower and actually slows down a lot during this waterfall. Trulex could definitely catch up, but doesn't have the know-how or at least the speed this time to make up the distance.
Flikk is someone you have to watch out for the rest of the All-Star Showdown. Came in 6th place in the solo invitational, so a very great solo player, and it was already his trios coming 3rd, 2nd, and 4th place. And what a sweet taste of victory of Flikk is able to get 1st place in the All-Star Solo Showdown. But right now, at this moment, he has an opportunity to send Trulex, the defending FNCS champion from Season 6, out of the competition, and Flikk, a little bit of, you know, savoring the moments, enjoying the last bit sweet taste of victory, and there you go. Advances and stays alive, Shayo.
I wonder what he was actually doing down there. Was he trying to make that side a little bit lower all the way at the very top? Was he tinkering with something behind the scenes? Who knows? Because right now this man is super, super fast moving through this course. And I feel like he even beat his previous time of 219 with that run.
Unbelievable performance from Flikk, turning it on, understanding what's on the line here, and not having any doubt that Trulex wouldn't even get close. But thank you so much for competing, Trulex, and we will definitely see you in the All-Star Solo Showdown that's happening on Saturday. No, there was no technique, bro. He was just vibing. There was no technique, no workshopping. He's just vibing it out, savoring that last moments there. 226. Again, we have to go ahead and put in my emote timer. You know, maybe 223. You know, 222.
223 R. Official Sancho balancing off the time.
Official.
Very, very official. Super, super
Yes,
official.
super
yes.
official. I like
Roll
their
in.
official stats, yes.
I can see you have 17 stopwatches, 86 clocks behind you. It all makes sense. It all makes sense.
It all does.
But yeah, Trulex knocked out for now. Flikk, I believe he's going to be the one waiting for JannisZsavage. We have that little mini bracket flip of the sides, and then Tayson Aqua, the loser of that, will face up against Freemok. We'll have that going on in just a little sec. What I'm seeing though right now, Sancho, is that every time someone pops into the lower bracket, they get scarier. They get better. they become demons, they move faster.
Backs against the wall, Sayo. I mean, you're getting eliminated. We saw Benji Fishy almost made that run going from the lower bracket, got all the way to the finals when it came to the Blueprint battle. But let's go back up to the upper bracket to see who those lower bracket demons will face. It's a battle between JannisZ and MrSavage. FNCS champion, the two-time JannisZ against the DreamHack champion, the 2020 MrSavage.
Ooh, and I'm liking what I'm seeing right here. EJ Dash had a JannisZ when he's starting things off to get closer towards all the way to the top first instead of at the end. At the same time, Savage, he decides to build out after a side jump, so both players kind of in the same cerebral space. In terms of time, though, Savage, he's quicker. He's like wall hopping back and forth. He's so much faster.
Unbelievable, and now Savage going down a little bit, the flare below. Both competitors doing that. Let's see who's able to work their way through and execute it perfectly. And I'm surprised Savage had a little bit of hiccup at the 90 crank. He had to do a quick edit, but Savage, this is gonna be the best time he's had through the entire day.
It's all about the little things, right? Yes, he had that hiccup, but then past that, moving down a layer, Tayson, you saw it, he just reverses his ramp. Savage, EJ dashes into that lower layer and connects mid-air. I mean, this guy is doing it all.
I didn't see
in
that.
high tier. Yeah, if you blinked, you missed it. It was literally a half-second technique, but he's done it. Even leaves a wall open behind him. Now he's disrespecting the AI. I mean, we saw what happened to Freemok when he did that. Now he's gonna take a little bit of a beating because of it. Savage, you gotta be careful here, my friend. And yes, he's going to be now actually putting up the walls fast and first. I'm wondering exactly how far behind JannisZ is. Just once again, slightly. Savage just has very, very tighter moves.
Here I am thinking that JannisZ is kind of like the trendsetter here, but all of a sudden Savage shows up and kind of makes it better. I mean, you talked about the technique right there. You thinking Tayson is going to have that ultimate technique, but now Savage is proving why he's one of the best in the world at what he does here. And if he keeps going with no mistakes, Shio, 216. 216. That's going to be the time he gets. He's going to do it.
The stopwatches are beeping, and Savage, yeah, he might be facing the trendsetter, but he's the early adopter in this marketing plan, in this big scheme of his to have the fastest speed, and now he's up to the final 90s all the way towards the top. Let's see if he makes any mistakes. The last time it was in the first 5 builds. This time we're on 90 number 7, and he's looking perfect. No extra builds on the sides, no walls, no roofs misplaced. He is going straight to a different dimension.
Savage is locked in. He is locked and loaded and about to maybe lock in the best time of today. Savage crosses the line, and Savage, suit and tie, briefcase, all business.
200 IQ all the time, everywhere, in every place. This man is not only thinking, but performing too. Here it is. Oh, it was about to happen in a half second, but I want to go back and see if we get that EJ dash at some point into actually switching layers. He just stayed ahead of JannisZ the whole time, Sancho. Never made a mistake, and JannisZ could not catch up.
Could not catch up. I just thought that maybe Savage just didn't have it in him today to compete against the JannisZ's and Taysons, and he just proved me wrong right here. And does he prove me right with my time? No. I thought that man was fast. This guy, he was 222. I thought it was a 216. It felt that he made no mistakes that entire run, Shio.
Yeah, I'm wondering exactly how even JannisZ was able to get a slower time than that, because usually JannisZ is faster. So, I mean, this next round, anything could happen. There's lots of room for improvement. And from what I'm seeing right now, I think Savage has the mental advantage in this matchup.
Yeah, he does, and JannisZ has to replicate that first time that he got in the day of 219. Maybe JannisZ waiting for this run got a little bit cold. Maybe coming in here was able to heat up just a bit.
Yeah, his startup was so bad before. No, he messes up a ramp again, and right there, Savage just takes over. Yeah, such a nice lead. Had the momentum, started slowing down and went too slow. So ramp placed above him. Meanwhile, Savage overbuilds. At the end of the day, there it is. He kind of skirts down a little bit and gets a little bit of an edge. Didn't actually get the EJ dash out that time, but he's in the lead.
And looks like JannisZ is now on the other side doing the exact same thing. About 2 grid pieces behind. This is going to be a very close here. JannisZ has to beat Savage here in the second match and get a better time of 2:22. Already did it before. He's going to have to do it again here. And that's all it takes is both competitors. And JannisZ here a little bit slow here on the free fall. A little bit slow there. I think he got, you know, once you realize you're jumped on a trampoline and realize you're a little bit too high, you go, oh, just like that. That's what happened to JannisZ.
Yeah, Savage had like hardwood floors, very slippery, could move on. When JannisZ put down his at the very end, a very, very rough carpet, could not edit through it. Got a little bit of rug burn going all the way down, could not make it past the floor, and now we'll be about a half second behind Savage. And what happens when Savage has a lead, Sancho?
He usually does not give it up. It didn't give it up in the previous match here. One of the fan favorites and a favorite to win it all when it comes to the solo showdown. And if he could take this momentum, not only he's going to be $10,000 richer, but he might be able to win the whole thing and add a comma to that $10,000 prize.
I mean, high tier, that's an accolade that Savage would definitely want to have on the timeline and in that big trophy closet. He started the waterfalls before, you know, the river's even moving for JannisZ right there, and he's already touched the ground while JannisZ is still sifting in the skies. An extra floor, though, might let JannisZ catch up slightly, but he messes up another floor edit all the way towards the very end. Savage has started his 90s. 2:22 was the time to beat, and this record only looks, I would even say, just a little bit faster. JannisZ, though, he's catching up a little bit. No, another misbuild on the left side. This has to be Savage all the way towards the very top.
Those efficient 90s are hard to pull off, and maybe Savage won't add a comma. It's not $1 million prize in first place, but he'll add a zero. He'll add a zero to it and shift some numbers around. But now he's going to shift JannisZ out of the competition. Out you go, the two-time FNCS champion, the DreamHack champion stands tall on top of that 90s mountain and advances. But actually, JannisZ gets sent down to a lower bracket here. Not just yet, Sancho. Don't get ahead of yourself. JannisZ is still a very dangerous player, but Savage definitely stepped it up here and was able to take JannisZ out. I'm very impressed with Savage, to be able to get a better time.
Yeah, without even having that added buff of the lower bracket, now JannisZ might be even scarier. Regardless, Savage just looks perfect. The only thing that's wrong is the 90s, I guess. Sometimes he's just messing up, or he's just not as fast as other people like Tayson. So 2:21, an even faster time with still a few mistakes.
He's getting better. Savage is getting better. He's shaving off the time as it goes on. We're going to have a first rematch here in the 90s high tier, and that's JannisZ against Freemok. I think Freemok is going to be a little bit better. I don't know if JannisZ could recover from this performance with a lot of mistakes in those 90s. Maybe he's going to have to go through that full traditional 90 versus those efficient 90s here. Let's take a look at the bracket. We still have the battle between Tayson and Aqua to see who advances to face Savage. Who doesn't advance will actually get sent to face Freemok, so my apologies. Freemok will face the loser of this next match, while Flikk and JannisZ here, the Guild Boys, are going to go at it in match number 4.
That might be a Freemok versus Aqua head-to-head matchup. Could possibly be Tayson. That winner's match 2 right there in the upper bracket. I mean, that thing is going to be an absolute, I don't even know how to describe type of match, because those are very fast builders. Those are high-tier players, and they're going to be dropping 90s like we've never seen before. So let's get it started. Aqua versus Tayson. Who gets towards the top first here?
FNCS champions going at it here. I'm excited to see what Tayson can do. Because Tayson, you talked about it, the trendsetter, going against the GOAT. The GOAT a little bit slow out of the breaks here. And Tayson does have the lead. A little bit of a mix-up as well on Tayson's side of things. Is fatigue setting in, Chayo?
A little bit, but then Aqua actually ends up putting a floor above his head too. So Tayson, he's going to go going all the way towards the top. He actually ends up landing first. And Aqua's actually having a very rude awakening starting off with these 90s.
It was not a great run for both competitors. By far, this will be the slowest time that they both had here, as Tayson is in the lead against Aqua. But I'm so surprised. If they were making mistakes in the early 90s, and I don't mean the decade, I think most likely they're going to make some mistakes here in the snake tunnels.
Possibly. There will not be any CD players involved either. Aqua, okay, an extra wall. It seems like he's about to take a little bit of fall damage all the way to the very end there. Tayson half cancels it all the way towards the back. It might have been a 0.5 that he took, because remember, these players only have 1 HP. If it's even a minor scratch on the knee, they end up having to restart that portion.
Tayson right now in the lead against Aqua, as you see it in our checkpoint marker. This is where it gets dangerous. The bots are aiming for the most likely the head here, and Aqua gets taken down. The danger that is those bots shows their head there, and Tayson now has an opportunity here to put the first W on the board. Yeah, Aqua's
straight up, this is about staying consistent. Yeah. Aqua is, he's probably gonna make sure he practices this entire portion again properly. Maybe experiments with a few techs that might be risky to incorporate them in this last run. If he does not make this, you know, after, or at least in the second portion of this matchup in the heat, then he's gonna be going right down to that loser's bracket.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We saw Aqua did the same thing when he lost the lead, just decided to take off, you know, put it in neutral, just chill for a little bit, take it down a gear, and wait to see what happens. Now Tayson doing the same thing. I mean, again, there's a lot of builds. It's very difficult to perform at this high level, and Reese kind of talked about it. These pros, yes, they performed in FNCS multiple times. You could talk about all their final appearances, but this is the first time they competed in a creative type showdown. And it's still nerve-wracking, it's still difficult. When you talked about, for example, when we were doing the Fortnite featuring the NFL players, we had Super Bowl champions competing in Fortnite, and they would say, by far, competing in the Streamer Bowl was the most difficult thing because they weren't used to competing in the Fortnite Island.
Not at all. I don't even think Aqua is used to losing this bad either. And you can see him here right now. He's just showing that flying spaceship, highly analyzing with his alien mind what to do next. This man, intergalactic levels of IQ. He has to be able to figure out how to not make these mistakes, have those fast 90s off the start, and then make up this big time that we're going to see in just a second. Tayson ended up hitting, barely even making any mistakes.
Aqua making the mistake there on the snake tunnels. Last time he didn't put a floor, but now this time just did not put up that wall quick enough. And Tayson with the time of 2 minutes and 32 seconds. You know, at the very beginning with those 90s, I saw that Tayson and Aqua were both having issues. I knew this would be a very slow time, but this just means this is a beatable time for Aqua. 2 minutes and 32 seconds. That's totally something that he could perform a lot better and stay alive in this competition.
Yeah, I mean, this is 10 seconds of leeway for either competitor. We've been seeing, you know, people with a little bit less skill even, or the average at least in EU right now from all the top players, be around that 2 minute, 20-second to 30-second mark. These guys are 2 seconds outside of that. So Tayson, Aqua, they're off to the races. Tayson with his tech of having 2 different side jumps involved to actually make up the layer change, or at least the distance from the gate to the next stage in jumping rather than moving. It's genius. Aqua, he moves up, he's keeping things simple, he's making sure he makes no mistakes, and it looks like Tayson hits the tunnel first.
Again, this is a double elimination, so the loser will get sent down to a lower bracket to face Freemok, and we all know the terror that Freemok has been, so you want to avoid that right there, and definitely Aqua wants to avoid that because we already talked about the past injuries, and already this is just a physically grueling competition.
Yeah, endurance will definitely be a big thing. Tayson, though, is only looking stronger as that day goes on. How is this man canceling 1 fall damage, Sancho? I mean, you called it out. That would be the difference. That's the tech, and Tayson's done it.
I was watching a lot of the, you know, or the creative content, the content creators like Cypher PK, like Aussie Antics, our fellow caster, when they were hosting their own tournaments. I saw a lot of competitors taking fall damage, and that is what they're finding out here as Aqua gets taken out again.
All right, give me a second. I gotta go to the back, prep the UFO once again. Gotta give it a nice shine. Gotta make sure all the saucers, the wheels turn properly on it. Do spaceships and UFOs have wheels? Who knows? Aqua does, because he might be busting it out here in just a second. Tayson's gonna be keeping on, moving the entire time. Aqua actually has not given up. He's still trying to catch up. Tayson could make a mistake, but it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, highly unlikely, and even though if Aqua would beat Tayson in this run, it's that time of 2 minutes and 32 seconds. At the same time, at least I have to say, this is the best outfit I've seen in the Cosmic Summer so far. The Midas Summer look. Ooh, man, when I saw that in the shop, I had to get it. I had to get it.
Yeah, the fit check so far in the All-Star Showdown have been pretty nice all the way around. I think yesterday we saw that FNCS pickaxe, black on gold.
Yep.
Who was that from again? I think that was Hen who was rolling in.
No, I think it was Queasy, right? No, Jerky.
Oh, yeah, must have been.
It was Jerky.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, it looked so good. And now we'll see all the way towards the top. Tayson going, celebrating. He knows what's happening. He knows what's breaking down. And there he is, all the way, again, a 2-0 finish inside his little heat in the winner's bracket. I want to see if that time's faster, because up next he's up against Savage, and that is a very hard matchup.
Savage is now having better and better times. Last time clocked in at 2 minutes and 21 seconds. Let's take a look at play of Tayson and Aqua. And it just came down to a moment of big mistakes. Once Aqua made a mistake, he just took the foot off the gas, preserving his energy, understanding that he'll get sent down to a lower bracket. But it's here, again, missing a floor in the snake tunnels that Aqua needs to fix if he's gonna want to survive in the lower bracket against Freemok.
And these lava pits and just the bots near there have been, yeah, there it is. Look at it, it's shinier. That was me. I had the towel on and I was like, you know, scrubbing the whole thing down. 221.
Wow.
Tayson, though, that's really clean.
That's really clean. I just felt that Tayson, I guess it's just when you don't see two competitors running really fast right next to each other, it just feels like a slower time. So Tayson and Savage matching times right now in the winner's match 3. And again, this is the best out of 2, so they will fight 2, but we still have so much action down below in the lower bracket where if you lose, you are out.
Now Freemok versus Freemok versus Aqua. Now it'll be, you know, the direct current battle here that we're going to be seeing between both these players. It'll be so much fun to see exactly how these guys end up fighting it out. I mean, I don't know. When it comes to these two players, they're going head to head. Aqua, I mean, he has this simple way of approaching things. Freemok, he has this lower bracket buff now. I'm kind of giving it to Freemok myself, Sancho.
Wow, you gave Freemok the +1 for being in the lower bracket. I think, yeah, it's definitely going to be Freemok's time. I think Aqua is pacing himself, understanding that he will have this last chance. Maybe this is the last kind of gas in the tank for him to just kind of push on through. And what a very dangerous person to go through. I'm hoping that Aqua does have a break. No breaks for you, sir. You're back into this fight, thrown right into the fire. Can you survive? It is time here for the 90s high tier lower bracket matchup between Freemok and Aqua. Freemok, an invitational player coming in. Aqua invitated as well. So these are two invitational players going at it.
Here we go. Straight out the gate, Aqua looking slightly faster, but Freemok actually working with the space and the height at the same time. He's pushed all the way forward, and Aqua will need to catch up on just one little layer of distance between him and the next stage. That might be where he actually falls slightly behind. No, he just edits a ramp, but he's looking good. They both touch down at the same time. Aqua, though, choosing to do that little Tayson technique. Freemok, he has his own little wave of moving through. It's looking real good.
Yes, you called it out, Shayo. Just walking on the left side of his floors, avoiding the right side of the bot. No need to build on the right, just have to build from behind here. And these competitors are now both entering the waterfall stage at the same time here. Let's see who's going to be a little bit more daring, because that's what's going to take here to survive. I think Aqua's kicked into the second gear right here. The GOAT understanding it is all or nothing right here to survive in the high tier.
Gotta be careful, gotta watch the feet right now. It's too hot down below, and that steam is rising. It's making these wood builds get really, really shaky. Aqua now has failed twice in a row inside these pits. It's the second part where he ends up actually misplacing a floor and falling down. Meanwhile, on the left side, it's cool blue moods for Freemok underneath his souls, and he's looking really nice moving through with that Ghoul Trooper outfit, going straight all the way towards the top. Aqua slightly behind now because, you know, in his mind, Sancho, he's trying to be careful the whole time. Doesn't want to get eliminated again.
Not at all. It would be nice for Aqua to add $10,000 more. He is the current EU leader in current earnings. Of course, that is adding that World Cup Duos Championship to the bag as well. And I just figured it out, Shia. Why is Aqua a little bit slow? This man is running in slides. You know how fast you can run in slides. This man is doing all he can and making sure he's going to catch up to the Ghoul Trooper who's running in combat boots.
I mean, she's got double EJ dashes, or at least Freemok does, all the way in midair off the waterfall, bringing out all the tags. We talked about the lower bracket buff. I mean, Freemok's taking away all the luck you could get, taking away all the skill you could receive from having a wake-up call, and has used it in every single match. He's towers stories higher than Aqua right now, going for the finish.
We've seen some great play from Freemok recently. Last FNCS had the highlight play in the FNCS, just taking out so many people with the one pumps. Now puts Aqua in danger of elimination as he crosses the finish line. and we're just seeing that techniques pop out. Freemok still sticking with his, and I think it's just as fast, Shio. It's just as fast.
Yeah, I mean, the coolest thing about Freemok watching him right now is that it's just like he has these consistent times over and over and over again. It doesn't look like he's faltering at all. Aqua's finally looking like he's back up to form, and yeah, you're right, very similar in close times. 221 from Freemok. I'm now putting in, you know, my kind of thoughts in terms of the Sancho land of stopwatches and clocks. Like,
it's a very
I think about all
land.
the other competitors, right? It is dangerous. I'm kind of scared. It's cold here, Sancho. I don't know how you're wearing a t-shirt in this land, but either way, for Freemok, it's very similar times to everyone. This 219, 222 range, everyone's operating within it, and no one looks like they own it completely, so it still could be anyone's game.
It's completely different from the Blueprint battle, completely different from the Bullseye Bonanza, where we felt like, oh yeah, this person's the sure winner. Noah Riley, you're gonna win it all. That's yours to lose. Oh, Mitro, yeah, it's gonna be yours to lose unless Mongrel could show up. Right here, I feel like this is wide open. You talked about it. There's about 3 to 4 competitors with the same time here, but let's put an all eyes moment right now. Can the GOAT survive? He has to put in a record time, a personal best for himself to be able to keep on going and send Freemok out. This is going to be so spicy here, right here, Shai.
Yeah, and this is actually the part where Aqua actually loses. It's this stage. If he doesn't make any other mistakes, it needs to be fast. The 90s, off the rip, off the dome. Freemok is always using some techs to get a slight advantage, a little bit of an edge, and right now it looks like both competitors are actually equal in speed. It looks like Freemok's technique of staying on this layer 2, he doesn't have to waste time actually switching that layer down, losing the velocity for the distance, and because of that, look at it right now. A slight distance advantage against Aqua.
You know, a little gravity, your character floats a little bit. That costs a little bit of time. And I'm seeing in this waterfall portion, Shio, that Aqua is just jumping and he's landing on 2 cones. Let's see if he does it again. Look at this. Actually, he's going to go on through. It's the second waterfall. You just watch out here. But now the dreaded snake tunnels here. Will the Viper's bite be too strong for the GOAT? The GOAT moving his way through, trying to avoid the bots here, putting up the walls. He runs right into his own wall. Already a little bit behind there, Freemok here. And I'm worried here for Aqua. I don't know if Aqua's time is going to be 221.
Oh man, he's gonna have to try to beat it. I mean, it's looking pretty fast right now, but the start didn't look too good. And you're talking about the Viper's bites right there. I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, you end up actually faltering. You end up completely vulnerable. You end up basically in a world of hurt, a smoke you can't even see around you. He's gonna be trying to get through that clouded vision in his head, making sure the pressure doesn't hit him. Meanwhile, Freemok, he's just freely moving all the way towards the top right now. Nothing is stopping him. It's all about consistency with the ramp 4 walls, and now with this waterfall, look at it. No actual, you know, care for human decency or life. This man is throwing himself off the top edge and catching himself at the perfect times, rebounding off his own waterfalls and gaining so much speed.
We're talking about building. Freemok is just built different. Doesn't worry about fall damage, doesn't worry about anything else. Aqua now, it's just, hey, we got to give up some, you know, 2 times for the GOAT. You know what I mean? 2 claps for the GOAT right here, Aqua. No matter what, always has the respect in the community, always one of the best in the world, still the highest earning EU player in Fortnite. But Freemok right now, it is his time as he crosses the finish line.
His time, and he shines. Freemok all the way towards the exosphere of the map. He gets towards the top. The record, the time is still looking really crispy too. I mean, he's only improved today in every single stage. And I would say the best part about his game right now, Sancho, is this start. No one else is doing it, and it is so fast.
It is the Freemok way. Already has the Freemok Classic. He's took out the ghoul of that bot. He's figured out the Freemok technique. And now as we're watching the last moments of Aqua, who put up a great effort, a great fight, finishing in 6th place here in the high tier, walking away with 1,250, a little bit of extra change there to add to that highest earnings as Freemok does it again. Mr. Consistency, 221, Shio.
Oh, I'm kind of worried though, because these are very, very strong looks from Freemok. It looks like he's at his peak right now, but we've seen the peak today so far has been 219. I think 216 almost at one point. So, I mean, this is going to be tough for him to really beat those fast times of, what was it, Savage and Tayson who are rolling in.
I think the big question would be as well is, can Freemok do it again and again. Look at that lower bracket graphic. He needs to do it 3 times and then do a bracket reset. So it's a lot to work through as he's going to wait for the loser of Savage and Tayson to be able to compete in that elimination match 5. But so far, Freemok with the lower bracket buff, as Shayo says, right now, cruising right now. Feeling good. Not worried at all. I don't think he's worried. No way.
Absolutely, and he's been dealing with, you know, really fast bullets, really fast speeds, and all these Spurs rolling in before, but the players coming in now, they're going to be of a very different caliber. It's either Savage or Tayson, Sancho, and so far, if I'm looking at the, dictionary definition of perfect in the competition so far, in high tier, I mean, it's Savage and Tayson. These guys have been just moving at breakneck speeds.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I would say Tayson has shown a little bit of vulnerability in that early 90s. Remember, we saw a little bit of a hiccup right then and there. I would say Savage, though, has been getting better. And if Savage can get a little bit better, shave off that 221, I mean, if history repeats itself, you're going to get a time of 219, then maybe 218. Now we're getting into some silly numbers.
Yeah, we're getting ridiculously close to that record time of 214. And at the same time, Flikk, JannisZ, they're going to be head-to-head once again. We have another guild matchup. I think yesterday it was Hen versus Anas. Today, it'll be Flikk versus JannisZ. And let's see exactly who is going to be higher in the hierarchy of organizations inside guild.
And this is the lower bracket finals. Not necessarily the finals, but this is the lower bracket where Flikk and JannisZ will go on to face Freemok. Brackets, man. Brackets are wild. You know, one person faces another. It feels it's all over the place here, Shayo.
Absolutely, and Freemok's been so fast. Flikk, though, has been very, very consistent in the way he's actually attacking things right now. He's also doing that type of Freemok technique we saw. I think, yeah, anyone who basically has their name starts with F, Flikk or Freemok, regardless, they stay towards the left. They're the ones that are rolling in completely. They're still just going completely the whole way, and now Flikk, he's going to drop all the way down. Is he as reckless when he hits the waterfall? And not completely. He's keeping it slightly safe. Still, though, it's very good speed.
Yeah, JannisZ had like a little kind of a hill moment right there. Maybe take a little bit of time here, but JannisZ was that trendsetter, sending that 2 minutes and 19 seconds early on through, and we're just seeing that this is right here the maximum way, and Flikk going with that full tarp as he's pushing away through the snake tunnels, and still right behind JannisZ.
Right behind him, these guys are actually neck and neck. This might be one of the fastest or the closest times we've also seen so far. Flikk holding an 8-4 lead over JannisZ in regular, you know, fashion when weapons are involved, when you see a lot of the different things, the points on the line in a battle and a foot race, though, where all you can is build in your own lane. You won't get to actually stare down your opponent. This is a personal mental battle of yours. Flikk will have to not only fight the course, but fight himself with the potential that he has, break past it, go plus ultra and try to just be faster than JannisZ beside him.
It's just so interesting to see. You could tell the different sensitivities in their mouse movement. You know, JannisZ, no doubt, a little bit slower, and then you could see that kind of that target, that reticle will go up and down a little bit more smoother. While you see on the other side of Flikk, it's just maximum speed here. So now we're getting into the final portion. It's the 90s crank. Who's going to take the first stab at this and get the first dub? As you know, it's the best of 2 here, with the time being the tiebreaker. And right now, Flikk is actually catching up to JannisZ.
Yeah, he actually started that off and made a mistake. Boots were a bit too heavy.
He's gonna catch up.
Suddenly,
he's catching up.
He takes off all the heavy lead. Like he's going straight towards the sky. JannisZ ends up actually pottering himself all the way towards his head. Flikk has passed him over, and he's straight all the way towards the very end. He looks so good. The question is, what was the time?
What was the time? And JannisZ was working his way through, but the efficiency of Flikk was just a little bit too much here. But JannisZ, I don't know where it went wrong. I mean, that 90s crank, a little bit of rust in it. Maybe you got to add some oil to those gears, because right there, Flikk was able to overtake him with that speed and velocity. Wow, 219. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
He's basically taken the way Freemok plays and made it fast and perfect. You know what I mean? Like, he has that tech at the beginning. He's got those risky waterfalls, but it's not like, you know, completely absurd. And his 90s just look really fast all the way towards the very end. So if honestly there's anyone taking the competition from the lower side, it feels like it's Flikk.
Maybe. It's kind of crazy. Like, we're talking about these brackets, and I'm like, hey, you know, Freemok's gonna go all the way through, and Freemok's gonna face the loser, Tayson and Savage, and I'm already in the future. But we can't forget about Flikk. You know what I mean? Flikk has always been one of those names I know in that trio. Flikk and Anas are usually overshadowed by Thomas HT because everyone loves sniping and everyone loves the long range snipes. But we cannot forget about Flikk in this competition, and Flikk put up a great time with 219.
Yeah, one of the best learners from pressure completely, and he's watched what everyone's doing. He's kind of put his own flair on things before. I mean, look at how he's grown, Sancho, right? He started this thing off, and he was actually going down to the bots at the very beginning. He got knocked to the lower bracket. Now, he's on average having the fastest times we see inside EU high tier.
That is the sign of a true Fortnite professional. Anytime you listen to Ninja in his interviews, he always talks about the pros figure it out the fastest. And Flikk has definitely figured out high tier and covered up the holes in his game. It might be reaching his perfection. Can JannisZ get a better time of 219? He has to get a better time of 219, which JannisZ has only done once. And that was at the very start of this day. And JannisZ already for the hard start here in this 90s crank.
Yeah, already looks like he's a second ahead of that normal 219 type run, at least from the 90s. Like, that was a very good side jump to start things off. This is looking very good for JannisZ.
JannisZ right now in the lead, going down below while Flikk is staying up top. So many interesting techniques. Again, if you want to compete and try your hand here, you could definitely jump into creative. It's right there available for you to see how you can do. No doubt you could try to take a playbook here or two, as Flikk now is making his way down to the waterfall stage. It's Flick's time here, and look at JannisZ is just ahead. You're right, Shio. He is just ahead of that 219 pace.
Still moving and grooving, taking a few shots back and forth too. I'm wondering if those jumps are as possibly as tight as can be. Flikk, though, now he's actually finding his groove. He's making up a lot of time here in this little zigzag pressure course, and he's looking like he's taking things all the way down to the brink. 20 HP, one pistol shot will send him through. JannisZ, though, he's looking really healthy.
I think JannisZ could actually do this. It feels like JannisZ is faster right now. I think that JannisZ could actually be the first person to pass that 219 mark. I think this is it. JannisZ, the champion, finding that extra gear within, that extra gas.
There's no way for Flikk to catch up, at least in this section. At the moment, it's all about consistency and staying all the way towards the top. This mini boost, this double layering that Flikk is doing might actually end up making him push forward an inch faster every single time on that ramp. Regardless, the waterfall is where things end up changing. Here we go. Flikk, he's trying to hit the ground fast. JannisZ, though, I don't know. Someone's tied like 90-pound iron blocks to his feet. He's falling so much faster.
JannisZ is moving, man. You're talking about moving and grooving. He is upping the tempo right now, and that tempo is going at a fast pace. This is where Flikk was able to catch up to JannisZ and pull him down. But can JannisZ cross the line at a faster time than 219? Because that's what he has to do. If he doesn't, he will be eliminated. Here we go. It's going to come down to the seconds, possibly the milliseconds. Crosses on through. We gotta see it, Shio, but that has to be one of the best runs I've seen today in high tier.
Yeah, that opening was amazing. I mean, we missed his POV on the waterfalls a little bit. That might have been the section where he had an issue with time, but look at this. I mean, it still looks perfect. He's just barely sliding off the edge, EJ dashing at every moment that he can as well. Sancho, I think JannisZ might have even broken the EU record with this one. I didn't see any mistakes in that run at all.
Zero, none. Zilch, nada. Doesn't matter what language you speak, what you see with your eyes. Like I said, Shio pulled out the dictionary and he said perfections in Tayson and Savage. But looks like, yes, wow, he did it! 217, JannisZ, I just felt it in my bones. And the battle bus driver, he's all getting hyped as well. He's honking that horn, baby.
The keys there were basically that side jump that we saw. It was absolutely amazing. It looked like this man double jumped in midair. He never even touched his builds. Past that, the waterfalls were so efficient. Sancho, I mean, we're breaking things down in live action. I want to see what the desk has for us because that's EU's new record.
Man, I just don't understand. You know, it's like I constantly am like, oh yeah, it can't get better. It can get better. It gets better every time. Boys, absolutely insane. And this is coming off of JannisZ as well. He started the day super strong. He had a few flubs along the way, but now he's back, and he's back with a vengeance.
look, the fastest time we've seen in this was over in Asia, 2:14, and I've been waiting to see someone get close. We had 3 teams, or 3 players, sorry, not teams, get 2 minutes, 19 seconds. I was thinking, how can nobody get faster than that? Finally, we see that JannisZ 2:17. What a time, what a run. And, you know, that was the 2 fastest we've seen today, Reese. And now we finally have a faster score.
We finally have a faster score. But you mentioned that 2:19 figure. The only 2 players that have got that so far are JannisZ and Flikk, and they were just up against each other. So I was really, really excited for this match going into it, and it did not disappoint, in particular coming up to the second round of it there too, because this is the 2 fastest times we've seen so far, and JannisZ did not disappoint with that 2:17 time coming in. You know, the biggest issue, honestly, that we saw that made JannisZ even go down here into the lower bracket was just the 90s for him as well, right? That's something that's been really tripping up a ton of players. You can see right now the battle. This was kind of the round 1 that Flikk managed to make it all the way up. Just unfortunately, JannisZ had fumbled a couple of times that time. But this is the kind of efficiencies, not the inefficiencies that we've been seeing from these players. Just the small ramp phases to keep them going. Every single little phase you do like this adds a tiny bit of milliseconds off your time and keeps you moving it forward and gets you to that 2:17 record.
I was ready to start going in on JannisZ, right? Because when I saw him messing up the 90s, yeah, I'm looking at it thinking, big man, you know, you gotta sort it out. Like, how are you messing up 90s? You know, he came out on Twitter tweeting like, but I can't 90. Like, yeah, you can't. You gotta be able to 90. That's the easiest part of the course. But he was able to sort it out, and boy, what an ending it was. Because look, I think either of these 2, you know, you could see winning the whole thing, and now JannisZ has that sort of, you know, that mental advantage, knowing he's been the fastest on the day. No one can match his level, and so we'll see how he does sort of moving forward in the next couple of matchups. But you know, props to Flikk. I'm sure Flikk will come back stronger than ever. But on the topic of 90s, right? So many people doing different styles of 90s, Reese, right? You know, you got people doing 90s all different ways. You know, I'm not a fan of how certain people have been doing it. I've had to critique certain people's 90s. But what did you think? Like, what have you made of the people's 90s? Whose 90s look the best to you today?
There's 2 different people who've been standing out. We've already mentioned one, which was JannisZ's 90s we're watching right now. I say stand out as he messes them up, unfortunately. But at the same time, we've seen another one, which was Flikk's, which were really, really impressive too for different reasons, right? JannisZ is using that floor stair ramp method, and then at the same time, Flikk was doing a double 90 where he's just doing 2 90s in a single jump and repeating those over and over again. So 2 really efficient ways to do it. You know, you went in on Tayson a bit on his 90s at the end. You know, you were getting a bit spicy with him there.
I had to message him and I told him, brother, you gotta switch up the 90s. These ain't gonna cut it. You know, the rest of the course, you're doing all right, but your 90s are gonna cost you. He did switch it up, and I felt bad because he started to mess it up a bit when he changed. But hopefully, you know, moving forward, when it starts to matter, he switches it up and everything goes to plan. Because I'm rooting for him. I want to see him take it home.
I'm rooting, you know, I'm kind of rooting for the underdog though, honestly. Like, I'm rooting for JannisZ at this point because I think honestly he came out from match 1.
He's the fastest time of the day.
But he's in the lower bracket now. He's in the lower bracket. That's what I mean. You are an underdog. If you're coming across Tayson from the lower bracket side, as you can see in Elimination 5, you know, he'll obviously be going up against Freemok, who's also at a 221 from my memory as well. Look, when I say underdog, let's be real. He's lost a match and Tayson still hasn't.
Come off it. Reese Hub is the only person on earth that will tell you the fastest runner in a race is the underdog. Like, come on, man. This guy is the lower bracket or not, he is the man to beat today. And so, look, you know, regardless of what happens with Tayson versus Savage, you know, they got to beat JannisZ at the end of the day. 2 minutes 17 is no easy feat to beat whatsoever. On the topic, though, of Tayson versus MrSavage, this is one of the more interesting matchups that we have, right? We have 2 former teammates, you know, 2 people who are very tied together in terms of competitive within EU. You know, you look at MrSavage and Tayson, their relationship. Tayson developing into a player, learning a lot from MrSavage. Obviously, they played together and things didn't work out the season they did. So to see these guys go head to head now, this is a matchup I'm really interested to see.
Not only that, if Tayson manages to win and JannisZ manages to win, they go against each other in the grand finals. Again, ex-teammates that, you know, they were teammates in, you could probably say, is their best developmental years, because that was in the duo FNCS in Chapter 2 Season 2, which then they both went on to win Invitational and so the Solo Invitational individually, obviously. Sorry, the Solo FNCS individually as well. So they clearly developed themselves as players together as well. So if Tayson goes against Savage, a great storyline. If it goes against JannisZ later on, even better storyline too.
Yeah, 100%. And look, regardless, yeah, they all want to get some of the dosh, right? You all want to get a couple extra pennies, you know what I mean? These guys, they go it like that anyway, so they'll be wanting to pick up a couple extra pennies. I wouldn't mind myself. I wouldn't mind myself.
That's crazy. Of course you wouldn't. You already have the 2K. It's in your name. I made this joke yesterday. I'll keep making it. Now, I will say the advantage that Savage or Tayson have, if whichever one does win this match, remember, they're going to get that free kind of like that freebie of the loss, right? Because the loser's bracket has to reset. They have to win twice. So they have to get that additional victory if they want to try and walk away the whole tournament. So if that's Savage, if that's Tayson, they're coming in super strong, right? With that buffer, even if they make a mistake, they will potentially be able to kind of like hold on. But I'm curious, Levin, you know, is that even enough? Because I feel like we haven't seen these players come online. They're doing really well, but it feels like they're kind of holding the cards right now. They're like, okay, we're going to wait to the last minute, and then we're just going to send it. We're going to put everything on the table and say we're going to win.
I don't know, you know. I want to think that, but at the same time, a part of me just feels like they've put out all they've got. Do you know what I mean? The fact that we struggle to see anybody beat 219, you know, we've got people who came so close, literally tying it. You know, I feel like these guys, if somebody has something that they've kept in the tuck, something that is just going to break the whole tournament and we're just going to all be mind blown, then I'd love to see it at some point. But nah, I feel like this is all they got. So it's just going to be about who makes the least mistakes.
Is the least mistakes and the most efficiencies as well, you know? I already mentioned those small little things add up, the ramp phases, making sure when you're waterfalling that you're doing the correct amount of walls down and that you're not doing a single wall all the way down. You know, there's these small little efficiencies that we've been seeing through all of the matches so far that add up completely. And as you mentioned, one single mistake, you know, we saw Aqua many times fall through the floor. I don't mean to bring him up again. You know, it's in the replays a few times, but we kept seeing him going through the floor in the snake tarpon section there, being eliminated. That sets you back so far. So single mistakes slow you down so much, but the efficiencies kind of speed you up at a nominal rate that all add up.
We'll have to see, friends, because we're going to the tail end of the competition here in Europe. So we're going back over to Shy Wager and Sancho West to close out the day.
Thanks so much, guys. When it comes to the finals, when it comes to getting the fastest times right now, I mean, Sancho, it's anyone's game. Everyone is elevating. I mean, Savage, Tayson, Freemok, everyone in the business right now, they are looking really in prime fashion.
Wow, this bracket is shaping up to be a tremendous finish here. We're going to see Savage and Tayson going at it with Freemok and JannisZ. And we were talking about, you know, Reese talked about two storylines developing of former teammates going against each other, but Freemok could be that dark horse that's going to come from the back of the pack, all the way sent from the lower bracket all the way down, making it on through. But we'll go to that story in a bit. We still have this one right here. Two juggernauts going at it, MrSavage and Tayson, former teammates here. Of course, running into with eye drop in that FNCS Season 5, coming in 8th place. Let's see. There's going to be a lot more on the line than just advancing here, Shayo.
Yeah, I mean, Tayson, he leaves from a ramp. Savage, I think, just exited his base from a
oh my
village
goodness,
that he built
Savage.
waiting for this one. He is actually pumping it all the way up towards the top. The 90s aren't stopping. Tayson actually ends up Harry Pottering just once all the way towards the very end, and there goes Savage breaking through. He's moving forward. They both have the technique that Tayson started using at the beginning of the competition today, and there goes Savage. He's actually catching up on time with the dashes, and Tayson can't really end up using this lead and keep it at the same time.
I really feel like right now Savage is a man possessed. It's a little bit extra. It's a little bit more evolved. We all know of the breakup that they had in the previous season. Everyone was wondering why did they separate. An 8th place finish is pretty good, but as you see Tayson making a mistake there on the waterfall, but it is not enough for competitors like Savage and Tayson, and that is why they separated there, as Savage is 3rd in total finals eliminations here, and right now he has to avoid getting eliminated himself. Maybe too much gas right there. A little slowdown, still in the lead against Tayson.
And Tayson's right behind him, though. It's not even a half second of a difference so far. Over here, it's just all about your movement while you block these shots. You want to make sure you're staying in the center the most. And as this kind of course ends, after you're out of these pits, you kind of edge towards the right or left, wherever the exit is. Over here, it's just all about consistency all the way towards the top with that right floor wall. Savage and Tayson, once again, yeah, they were past teammates. It looks like they're on the same team too right now. The rotation is literally identical. no player is really giving up any time.
It just feels like this pressure right now is bringing out the best of our competitors. This may be another fast time. We've already seen someone break on through past 219. Will Savage or Tayson do that? Look at that. Tayson risking it all with that fall damage, and now it's coming down to the final 90 crank between Tayson and Savage. And I think, Sio, it's all about who finishes first here, because the pressure and the time, it's going to be really too much here. Tayson, Savage, neck and neck, height to height, cranking 90 to 90. Savage loses the lead. Tayson is just ahead. It's so close, Sio, so close.
Tayson ends up actually pumping the nitrous all the way towards the very end, and he gets to the top first.
Wow.
Literally losing the entire time except for the last 5 seconds of competition. Tayson, the prime premium gas all the way towards the top, and that also has to be a sub 220 record.
Man, I'm sitting there, we're seeing in the early replays, Savage pumping out those 90s, and it may have been that final 90 crank was just not enough, but still, these two competitors were right next to each other, crossing each checkpoint at the same time. But I'm thinking it's this right here, this moment, that 360 jump, that was it that kind of slowed Savage down. And Tayson was just able to pass him up. That's how close it was, folks. Blink, and you talked about it, sub 220, 218. Wow.
I mean, these are records being set. These guys are not holding anything back. They're just pushing the whole way forward. Tayson with a 218. Savage, I mean, he had to have 18 as well.
That's what I'm saying. He had to have at least 218 or 219, man.
Exactly, yeah. So both these guys in tip-top form. I mean, one more match to go to see who goes towards that lower bracket. I honestly don't want to see either player leave, and I can't call it right now. Savage, he was in the lead for the majority of that, Sancho. He had the bag.
He had the bag, and he just got taken away at the very last second there. Those few 90s cranks, and this is not the end of the ride for Savage. He still has an opportunity to win this right here in the upper bracket. If he does not, he will get sent to lower bracket to face a very dangerous competitor down below. So we'll see how that all shakes out, but I can't believe it. I just thought Savage had it. We always were saying, when Savage is in the lead, he doesn't give it up, but he gave it up at the very last second.
Just for this time so far, and I know Savage does not want to come second again. If there's anything FNCS related in front of him right now, I know the All-Star title's tacked onto it too, but he's looking for that first place in high tier at least. He's looking to clap in that solos competition later in the week as well. Right now though, it's within his grasp. The time to beat is in front of us, and the matchup is ready to go again. 218 for Tayson. Savage, I mean, I guess he has to hit 218, Sancho, or be slightly faster with that 217 score.
It's 218 or a slightly bust. You get sent down to the lower bracket. Will you be waiting the winner between Freemok and JannisZ? So we already seen JannisZ put up a 217 time, and considering that JannisZ and Tayson have been seemingly developing at the same time, and looks like they're still in pairs. I mean, they're putting in some phenomenal numbers, as right now we're seeing that Tayson just has a lead and able to touch the platform almost at the same time here, but it's going to come down to that finals 90s crank there, Shio.
Definitely is, and right now both of them look so clean, so close together. We know Savage has struggled on those 90s, at least towards the end. In the beginning, he actually looked a little bit more consistent. When Tayson really tries to go for fast builds though, and doesn't make mistakes, he goes for the risk and just gets only the reward, he ends up the victor. In the beginning though, that risk, Sancho, last time, it cost him a lot. It cost him about 2 seconds. He can't have that happen again.
And you're seeing in the waterfall, the reason why they do the EJ dash a little bit forward, because if you waterfall directly down, you will not be able to cross that finish line. You have to cross and touch that finish line. If not, you will get eliminated. So that's why they do that extra EJ dash here. As see, Tayson has a single game solos finals elim record with 12, and he's looking to add the sweetest one by sending MrSavage down into the lower bracket.
Still building,
so
still
close.
moving forward. It's very close. I'm just patiently waiting to see exactly what ends up happening. This is the one where I guess me and you get to take a breather, right? This is just them walking. How's your day going, Sancho?
It's going good. I mean, I'm feeling great. I'm excited to see where the rest of All-Stars. We got, you know, what is it, Play for Keeps coming up tomorrow?
Yeah.
So much time. And this is really fun. I mean, what a great event that Fortnite's putting up, and now the job is over.
All right, let's go. We gotta dive straight back in. Okay, waterfalls.
Diving straight back into the deep end, man. Waterfalls, yes, sir.
Tayson Savage going fast, and no! Missed ramp placement by Tayson. Let Savage have a slight lead on the 90s. He has that side jump ready as well. But he messes it up. It's even on both sides.
He stubbed his toe, man. He stubbed his toe. That was a sick side jump just to get an optimal position here. And now Savage is gonna have to go supernova and get to a place that he's never been right now. He has to beat the time of 2:18, which he's only gotten a time of 2:21. Now it's a him against the clock here, as he's gonna be able to beat Tayson in this matchup. But the question is the time there for the 100 Thieves Savage? I know, no doubt, all eyes on the fan favorite here as he's hoisting the trophy temporarily. It's like we show him this graphic and you're like, hey man, you still gotta go down to the lower bracket.
Possibly.
Your exit's right here, my guy.
Yeah, it has to be the most perfect game we saw though, from beginning all the way close towards the very end. Savage looked really good the entire time, looked really good jumping into those 90s, just had like, I don't know, a good ignition, but a bad start all the way in that final stage. And Tayson, yeah, he just flubbed up a bit here and there. That 218 score might just be enough for him. There was that ramp that held him back. I mean, at this point, Sancho, we just gotta wait for the time.
It's all about, will it hold? We're watching here. No! Savage just falls 2 seconds short of that 220, but still, Savage, that's the best time he's done. Well, granted, if we didn't have that X in the previous one, I think he was at 219. So Savage is still performing at a high level, and that high level is going to be something that hopefully is enough, because he will be going up against the winner of Freemok and JannisZ, and we already know JannisZ put in a time of 217, and Freemok has been that basement demon there, just knocking people out. If we have an elim number here, he's knocked out Rezon, he's knocked out Aqua, and you know, he's looking to knock out JannisZ here.
It's gonna be difficult though, because JannisZ has, yeah, as you said, that fast time. I mean, I also think the big thing is that, you know, JannisZ is being a little bit more consistent with the fast times he's getting. For Tayson, yes, he looks good, but these 217s, these 218s, they're not coming up as much as JannisZ, right? He's kind of averaging that 220 type of atmosphere of time. So Savage could have a chance back. Anyone could have a chance back against Tayson if they make it to grand finals. I think if JannisZ is there though, this guy's just winning it all. Freemok either takes him out now or JannisZ takes this thing home.
The good thing is Tayson afford himself the winner's advantage. He's going to have to lose to get that bracket reset, so he has to lose twice. So that's what happens there at the end there of the finals, as Tayson is waiting for everything to play out. He could cool down. He could go get a drink, you know, maybe maybe get that Clicks towel, you know what I mean? You know, all that sweat kind of come building up. So that's what we're waiting here. But you talked about it, Freemok and JannisZ. This is still, it's like a great appetizer to what we're about to see of the high-level play that we've been watching all day here for high tier.
Yeah, this could be the perspective of, you know, the winner's story we're watching in terms of JannisZ. It could be the upset story we're watching with Freemok, who had honestly one of the worst starts today in high tier, and then one of the best glow-ups we've seen so far. So, Freemok versus JannisZ. Literally a man who is the most improved in the competition versus the record holder. Let's see who actually ends up on top.
Freemok trying to find a slight arc of redemption, coming off a disappointing season. Now Freemok here is going to show out and let an FNCS champion know, ooh, it's a very interesting kind of split in his 90s, and that's going to cost him the lead as JannisZ takes advantage.
Yeah, interesting is one of the words to describe what Freemok just did at the start. It could just be complete intentional feeding of his entire chance of qualifying. Int is involved. Int is definitely involved. At least those three letters. JannisZ will speed the whole way ahead, and you know what happens when this guy gets rolled and he stays perfect. So that could just be it for the first round for Freemok.
If JannisZ could do better than 217, we talk about statements, and I know I like to say that, but that statement will be made to let the upper bracket know, and Savage and Tayson know, that JannisZ is here. You said it. If JannisZ gets to the finals, he's going to win it all.
Freemok is our only hope, I feel like, right now, because this guy has...
No.
He has the cleanest waterfalls. He has the fastest waterfalls right now. Like, it's actually...
He's catching up.
I know it is because of that drop down, but if JannisZ takes him out now, if Freemok's made mistakes and he can't utilize the waterfalls to make up time, it's done. It's absolutely.
I think Freemok got eliminated, bro. He just got eliminated by the snake tunnel. This is your only hope. Your only hope just got dashed. It's it. The only hope he's gonna have to do it in the second run of this matchup.
wrap it up for Freemok for the moment. I mean, I guess he'll get a little bit of practice and make sure this doesn't happen again. But at this point, oh my God, he almost did down a second time. Freemok, man, you're feeling the pressure. It's all good. Breathe. Pull an Aqua. Get the emotes out. Give your hands a rest. JannisZ has his one. He can take it. You can reset. Get your mental back.
The only thing JannisZ can do is apply extreme pressure on Freemok and also apply extreme pressure on the rest of the players in this lobby. If he cranks in a better time than 2:14, he would be the entire All-Star Showdown leader, as in Asia right now holds the record at 2:14. So I'm going to be waiting right now with a bated breath to see if JannisZ has that best time, Shayo.
Oh, that record. It's gonna scare me. If I was Freemok in that moment, I would have tried something crazy, like building up past the waterfall, trying to get towards the top. You gotta do something, man. It's all good though. JannisZ, he's gonna be the one to win it out in the beginning. You're talking about the record, Sancho. I mean, what are your thoughts? Was that performance really clean? Was that a 217? Or what do you think?
I'm guessing it's definitely another 217, possibly a 216. Freemok going back into the classic.
Oh my God.
Gets eliminated right there by the bot, but JannisZ is right now performing at maximum speed, and that speed is keeping him alive in the lower bracket. And let's see what time did he clock in, folks, because this is what I'm talking about. 2:19. Okay, hey, that's still fast. That's still fast. That's nothing to snooze at, man. That's a quick time.
Oh, he's slowing down, JannisZ. He might be getting too old for this. I don't know.
Whoa,
he's not 217 anymore. Hey, it could be anyone's game. Nah, this is a bad game for him. A bad game for JannisZ. A bad run is 219. I mean,
whoa.
Let me stress that. Freemok, you're literally the only hope stopping anyone from, like, or just stopping JannisZ from taking this away. Just chill out. Get the 90s good in the beginning. Hit those waterfalls. Freemok has the fastest waterfalls we've seen today. JannisZ has the fastest everything else. So that's kind of what it is right now in terms of head-to-head.
My man, you're acting like you're making a message out of a robot, and you have Freemok looking at some two suns, hoping that he'd be able to save the galaxy here against the terror that is JannisZ. I think JannisZ is going to take it. I love Freemok. I love his moxie. I love all he can do. He had a great performance in the season before in the FNCS. I just think it's just too much, man. This man got sent down to the lower bracket early on. Look at that. So many names he took out. It's just right now, fatigue is catching up. But who am I? I'm the man behind the desk with a broadcast headset on. Freemok, prove me wrong, brother.
Let's see what he can do. Before, it was that split at the beginning that you pointed out, Sancho, that actually had him not have the best start possible. Now he keeps it classic, he keeps it clean, and he's actually in the lead too. Freemok, he's going straight up towards the skies. Fumbling though, oh no, oh my, this is not gonna look good. Not only does he have to beat JannisZ this time, he has to be a time of 219. You can only really afford to make 3 or 4 mistakes, and he's already made 2.
He's made some mistakes, but it is that waterfall portion that I have my eyes on here. JannisZ is, of course, one of the 2 EU players with multiple FNCS championships, and of course, Tayson, his former teammate, is the other one. This is the 2-time coming in with a solo win, of course, and a trios win and underneath his belt.
Freemok actually starts those waterfalls, and he's going so fast. That's what I was talking about. This man is so good when gravity's on his side, and now he's finally hit the earth. He's still moving forward. He's still moving through. This is where he got tripped up last time. Block the shots left and right. It only takes 1. It's fine. Keep moving forward, Freemok. Keep moving, keep grooving. 219. It's the time to beat. You have to try to take down JannisZ for the moment. At the same time, JannisZ is looking to make up time. He's hitting those EJ dashes more so than Freemok, but he hits the door. One that won't open in time, and that could cost him this run. The question is, does Freemok have the speed?
I love right now where your head's at, Shiloh. You're in an in-game full speed mode here as Freemok avoids all the bots in the snake tunnels, and now he's just making his way through. This is a time he has to beat. Is 219 here, am I right? 219? Yep. He has to beat the time, and now Freemok is going through. He's ahead of JannisZ now. The question is he ahead of that time trial ghost of JannisZ? I'm not quite sure. This free-for-all is waterfall action is going to be the thing that could be it, but look how clean it is. By far, if we had awards, a little trophy reward to give out, Freemok Best waterfall goes to Freemok.
No, but not right there, though. At the very end of those waterfalls, he actually messes up the ramp twice, and messing up on the waterfalls, it's not like messing up the 90s. When you mess up a 90, a quick edit, it gets you back in the race. When you mess up a waterfall, that's seconds taken away from your time. Freemok, I mean, the competition's closer. He's going to be beating JannisZ, but is he going to beat 219 is the question. 3/4 of the way, all the way towards the top of space. He's going straight for that checkered finish line. Freemok has almost hit it, but has he beat the time? He finishes first place in the second round, the final heat of the matchup. But what does the clock say?
It's always what does the clock say. I'm sure, Shio, it will have some minutes, it will have some seconds, and the time that Freemok is looking for is a better one than 2 and 19. He free-falled his way, waterfalled his way all the way down with some speed, coming down from the lower bracket, take up some big names in the region, but it may be that quick time from JannisZ, who has been our leader throughout the entire day in terms of time of 2:17, put up another big time of 2:19. Could it be enough to hold on to the only hope of the high trials of Freemok? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure.
I mean, high tier really has been the most head-to-head type matchup we've seen so far. I thought that race kind of atmosphere was only available in Blueprint Battle.
1 second.
220 from Freemok. The waterfall specialty that he had, the place where he couldn't mess up. He makes the mistake, and unfortunately, those seconds will cost him more than time can buy. That's just so unfortunate, though, for JannisZ. I mean, this guy is an absolute phenomenon. He's moving forward. His time speaks for itself. 2:17s, 2:18s, and at minimum, a 2:19, a force to be reckoned with, Sancho.
You're throwing out so many numbers, but another number that matters the most is $2,500 was lost right there by Freemok. That is the difference between 4th and 3rd place. Freemok coming in 4th. Congratulations, though, for having a great run, being an invitational player. But wow, let's go ahead and kick it to the desk to break down all the action that just unfolded.
Thank you guys so much. You're fantastic as always. My goodness. I really did think, like, I was watching Freemok, and you know, sometimes you're just like watching someone play a game and you could just tell that they're in the groove, they're in that moment. It looks like nothing's gonna slow them down. That's where I was, Levin. I really thought Freemok had it. I really did.
Look, they finally look like they've eased into the map. They look comfortable, they look a bit more familiar, but sometimes when you get a bit too comfortable, there's room for mistakes there. Do you know what I mean? And that's always the big fear. It's a shame to see Freemok go. It's a shame to see Freemok go because he's such a talent. Wish we could have seen him in FNCS a bit more. But in today's competition, he's been great. He's been great. He's been a great competitor. He's brought out some things that were unique to him specifically, right? Hugging the wall on the right side, on the left side, sorry, so the right bots don't hit him. He's done some interesting things today, and I think he can definitely walk away proud with the money he's going to be able to get. Of course, you want to push for a bit more, but regardless, still an impressive day for Freemok.
Yeah, and at the top of the show, he was actually my prediction coming into the day. I thought he was going to be the one to take away with it. But honestly, in that last match, I was kind of rooting for JannisZ a bit because JannisZ's performance today has been the best overall. Let's be real. The fastest times and most consistently the fastest times as well. So, even though I had my money technically on Freemok, at the same time, I was like, JannisZ, come on.
Yeah, your underdog pick of JannisZ.
Yeah.
your underdog pick, which I'm not a big fan of, but I'm a big fan of JannisZ. Don't get me wrong, guys. But yeah, underdog. Look, JannisZ has been incredible today. Right off the beginning, he was the guy to beat. And even though he did end up going down to the lower bracket, it still does feel that way to me. I just feel like, you want to try to beat his time. We're seeing people consistently, hitting that sort of 220 mark, around 219. But I really would love to see somebody from EU just break the record that was set in Asia. Like that's the big thing for me. Like I've enjoyed the competition today, some great entertainment, whatever. But I want to see someone break the record now.
I mean, in the two kind of sets that we have left, they could be pushed so hard to do that. We have our consolidation final, we have our actual finals as well. The matchups that we have there could be pressured each other to do that. We have MrSavage and JannisZ first, right? In our consolidation final down there. They're gonna be going against each other. JannisZ so far, his time has only been 3 seconds off of that Asia world record technically that we saw, so he was 217, sorry, whereas the Asia was Alan there, got it in 214. So only 3 seconds difference, but we know that the majority of people, a 3 seconds difference at this point is so much time.
Yeah, 100%. And Tayson's obviously sitting there in the grand final, waiting for his opponent to finally meet up with him. Look, Tayson, I hope you're listening. Whatever you win today, I want to cut, because I had to tell him to change his 90s, and it's paid off. It has paid off. So whatever he wins today, I'm expecting to, you know, to get a quick little cut, because, you know, I think, you know, the coaching for me has been crucial to his success. You know, Tayson's been so quick throughout the whole course, right? The whole course, quick and efficient, just as you'd expect. It was that final part that was missing. The 90s were not there, and now they are, thanks to Coach Levin. So, Tayson, boy, make sure to hook me up. Make sure to hook me up. That's all I have to say for you.
I think that 5 minutes of coaching is probably, what, $5 potentially? Maybe one.
Nah. You know me, I charge a high price. You know,
only
you
the
know,
elite. Only the elite.
You know, the best of the best coaching, it costs the most money. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you get from me. So regardless, right, I think whoever he faces off, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because JannisZ has shown, you know, he's the fastest person in the tournament. And MrSavage is super competitive. MrSavage is super competitive. He said he was a bit upset with me that I've been underrating him, he says, right? He thinks I should be giving him a bit more props. And to be fair, he's deserved it. He's in the consolidation final, and he looks like he could make it to the final against JannisZ, depending on who really just sort of has the cleaner run. But look, you know, if Savage can come out, inject it, you know, give the energy, you know, who knows what could happen. I think either one would be a great final.
Yeah, and let's give him our props as well, because the match that he started off winning, right, was against Rezon, which was knocked out. Then his second match was against JannisZ, who, again, this is what we're about to watch the next off. So coming across JannisZ, he's already beat JannisZ. We got to give him his credit where credit is due. However, if he wins that, he'll be through to the championship final, which we've already mentioned. He'll be going against Tayson, which he's lost against. So, you know, 2 different rematches for Savage if he's going to try and claim that final slot. It's going to be a really interesting one to kind of see who he can battle out against.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. You can see here, right, if MrSavage or JannisZ, I wanted to say JannisZ goes through to that grand final and they do beat Tayson, there is a bracket reset, right? So they're going to have to beat Tayson twice. And, you know, on a normal day, the concept of beating Tayson twice in anything sounds ridiculous. Like, yeah, I'm just going to beat Tayson twice. I don't know about that one, buddy. I don't know about that one. But that could come into play depending on who makes it to the finals. If not, though, you know, Tayson could just come away with it. What are you thinking then? I know you're supporting JannisZ, but is he going to just be the one to win it, do you think? Or are you going to maybe lean towards Tayson for that final matchup?
Look, you said about beating Tayson twice. No one's beaten Tayson once yet. So realistically, someone trying to come in and beat Tayson twice is going to be very, very difficult. Now, yes, we've seen JannisZ with this lowest time and on average the most lowest times. If that makes sense. So many 219s that we've seen, but none of those have been against Tayson, and Tayson has had a time in that kind of equaled as well. So technically, JannisZ is looking like the strongest competitor here, but again, Tayson still hasn't lost one, and he'd have to lose it twice. JannisZ messing up quite a few 90s at this point as well, so seeming to be a little bit more inconsistent in these. So honestly, it's all up in the air.
Now, hold on.
I'm loving what I'm hearing. I'm loving what I'm hearing, though.
Wait,
you predicting him.
What if, okay, hear me out. Okay, this is my third eye opening, okay? Levin, what if JannisZ is just sitting here this whole time and he's like messing up these 90s, you know? He's like, oh man, oops, I tripped, oh man. And then he just makes it to final. He's like, all right, Tayson. Okay, final power mode activated. I'm gonna walk through and just literally nail every single edit and build that I need to do forever. And I'm just gonna also set a 213 because I'm JannisZ, and I'm just gonna do whatever I want now. That's it. I've seen the future.
Tweet.
That's what it says in the script right here. In the script, I'm reading the script.
Honestly, these are 2 FNCS champions, right? They are two-time FNCS champions, right? So, you know, the limits, you know, are endless with these guys. To be honest, Reese talking about, you know, JannisZ and maybe he's not able to beat Tayson. That's music to my ears, right? That's music to my ears. That's exactly what I'm going to be hearing now because, like I said, I want Tayson to run me my money. Do you know what I mean? So I'm happy. JannisZ in this clip here, he's not messing up any 90s, to be fair. maybe that will change. Maybe he will feel that pressure, you know, when it comes down to it. Do you know what I mean? Because as much as I was trying to say these guys shouldn't be feeling pressure, they're the top players, there's big money on the line. There is big money on the line, and so there will be a bit of nerves, a bit of sweat dripping down your arm and whatnot. So who knows what happens there? But yeah, I do want to see, because look at the difference, man. Look at the difference. A couple seconds is the difference between around 2,500, right? From third place to second to first. You know, look, I'll take anything, but I would hate to miss out. Like, I'd hate to miss out on, you know, some more money just because of like a slight edit error, or I get taken out by a bot. Like, getting taken out by a bot is that's just frustrating as ever. So yeah. Who knows?
I mean, you're in the safe seat. You're the coach right now, so you're looking for that fiver. You're absolutely chilling, right? I mean, should I think at this moment potentially go and DM Savage, or maybe JannisZ as well?
Hold your horses. Hold your horses.
Yeah. Reese, you can join me right now. You can join Team JannisZ.
Yes, I'm joining Team JannisZ. You know, your prediction, JannisZ, is looking strong so far. Same 11. You know, you're going with Tayson. Same as Sancho. Shio going with MrSavage. My prediction, the only one who's not left in it so far. Thank you for showing that one.
Unfortunate, really. But, you know, we'll move on with that one there. Don't worry about that. Look, Shio back in MrSavage, and rightfully so. Savage has been impressive. We talked about Savage, and obviously he's going up against JannisZ. Tayson sitting comfortably in the final. How comfortable will he be? If you're Tayson, right, and one of these guys breaks the record of 217 for the EU session, are you sweating a bit? Do you think he's going to be a bit nervous, or do you think he just keeps calm no matter what?
No, you get a drip or two. I mean, you're thinking right now this is a 3-time FNCS championship on the line, technically, so even more pressure along with it.
Boys, it's time. We're about to see what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. It's game time. Sancho West, Shio wager. Let's bring it home.
Unstoppable forces, immovable objects. You guys are also talking about, you know, Tayson, you're talking about JannisZ. What about the divine entity? What about Savage, guys? Let's not leave this man out to the crops, to the dust. I mean, I'm on full Savage mode right now, Sancho. I think he's taking the whole thing home.
I see you flying the Savage flag high. Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about Savage is those 90 cranks at the finish. I mean, that is where he is vulnerable. That is where JannisZ could definitely catch up to him, but JannisZ has been super efficient. I mean, yesterday Zeke was talking about the Terminator. This guy's moving at that kind of pace. Very robotic, not stopping, not looking back, just going forward. And Savage, who's been working on his time, probably got 220 is the best, 219. Can he beat the 217 time JannisZ that's on the right side? It's coming down to it. We got 3 of the best builders in the EU region. Tayson, Savage, and JannisZ still left, but now we got a head-to-head battle between Savage and JannisZ, and they're looking as if they're on a whole other level. Right now, I would say JannisZ is a little bit faster.
Slightly faster, but from what I'm looking at right now between Savage and JannisZ, every time Savage is ending up fighting someone else or has a new matchup, he ends up just siphoning their energy. He keeps up with them. If they're slower, he gets slightly slower. If they're faster like JannisZ, he ends up getting faster. And this is perfect. I haven't seen Savage actually play this well in high tier at any point just yet. He's keeping up with JannisZ foot for foot.
It looks like Savage has a reverse history here. JannisZ does have a 4-2 advantage in the head-to-head fights in the finals here, but literally both competitors, I don't know if you saw when they went down to that tunneling portion, they jumped off the platform and caught themselves with a perfect reverse ramp. That is what it's coming down to, as we're seeing Savage slow down just a little bit in the snake tunnel here, as JannisZ is using any moment opportunity to EJ dash forward and get that cross that. Yes, he goes just ahead here, but wow, Savage is still keeping up the pace.
Keeping up the pace, he's not actually jumping the entire time through. Maybe that's why JannisZ actually has a slight type of advantage in movement, in speed, moving through that tunneling course. It's so nice. The pressure is not even scratching his back slightly at all. JannisZ is actually the first one to actually move over to that big incline, the ramp floor wall. This is where both players get to take a breather, to understand what's happening in front of them. At the same time, they prep up for the next waterfall. This one's very important. It's where players make the most mistakes. JannisZ hasn't made one here yet. Savage hasn't either, so it'll be about speed.
I have yet to see anyone make the ultimate mistake and taking the critical fall damage and getting eliminated here. But wow, the waterfalls are just wet right now. And JannisZ just goes all the way down, liquid smooth. You talked about be like water. JannisZ is like water at this moment. And now he's cranking up to 90s and looking for another opportunity to be at another clock in at 217. Look at it, Savage right here. It's these 90s here, Shayo. It's these 90s that are gonna call Savage this matchup.
Nah, it's that ramp all the way at the end of his waterfall. It came out towards the very end, stopped his tracks, and then he had to go vertically down and stop his time for about a second or two. The 90s, yeah, they'll be slightly slower as well. JannisZ, though, he'll be able to take things over, celebrates by jumping off that tall tower, too. I mean, that was really fast. I'm not worried about Savage losing the first round, Sancho. I'm more worried about JannisZ's speed. I mean, that might have been another record.
It felt like it really did. The kind of daredevil jumping here in the waterfalls, it's just adding that extra time that we were looking for. Zeke asked, how can these competitors shave off that 3 seconds to hopefully maybe catch up to that Asian 214 time? Let's see where it is, 218. That's still a very fast time as JannisZ clocks in what has been some of the best times of the day.
I think 218 was the time that Savage lost to previously as well. He was very, very close. Actually, I think he landed at 218, but milliseconds-wise wasn't fast enough. So Savage shooting for 217. I mean, can't mess up a waterfall. Every waterfall has to be spaced 2 blocks apart. The 90s have to be perfect. He has to start jumping inside those little tunnels that you're seeing happen with all the bots and the pressure. I feel like I'm asking for a combo with 2 extra sides, 5 extra drinks. What I'm saying is maybe it's too much for Savage.
My guy, you're asking for that extra nugget, dude. You're asking for that toy as well, dude. I don't know. You're asking for everything, and that's what's going to take. Savage has to pull all the tricks out of the bag. If he has something, a technique that he hasn't tried, he's going to have to risk it, because right now, it's not only to be able to advance, but $2,500 are on the line right here, right now, and Savage is going to have to beat the speedster in JannisZ. I just don't know. I mean, he's been getting better and better and better. He's been hitting it, but it's kind of like when you're going up against a better player that is just at the peak of their performance, it doesn't mean you're a bad player. We're talking about these wild times here, Shayo.
Yeah, I mean, 218, it's tough to beat, and Savage literally just had 219 or 220. We're past the realm, the land of scores that we're going towards that 230 time. We're now in the expert pro zone, and once again, JannisZ versus Savage. Savage will have to beat that fast time.
It's as if he has to enter the code of the game. He needs to see the binaries, the zeros and ones, to be able to work his way through. And this 90 crank is going to show me that Savage is ready to step up. Can the 100 Thieves player be able to showcase why he's a champion and why he's a fan favorite? He starts off with a great 90 and now moving through with the tunnels.
Might be a little bit too excited though overall when he actually ended up hitting the precipice of those 90s. He went a little bit too high, had to double edit and missed one EJ dash. He started the actual movement in this long up top tunnel slightly later, so JannisZ will have a lead and we'll try to exploit it on the waterfalls.
If JannisZ puts up a better time, I just have to say, Savage, it's just unfortunate bracket placement right there, man. For you to fall right into the arms of JannisZ, for you to fall right into this buzzsaw, this fast demon that is going all the way through. We're talking about some efficiency, some speed. It's so exciting to watch JannisZ go to work, and wow, this trendsetter is doing it right now again.
Yeah, it's honestly more so the explosiveness as well if we're looking for the jumps we're looking at right now from JannisZ are the thing that are setting him apart from honestly everyone else who's playing this portion of the competition, that little bot movement in terms of protecting yourself and at the same time tunneling. When you jump, you stay in the middle longer. You get to basically be at that line that gives the most speed at more of the time than your competitor. And right now, JannisZ, because of that, is ahead of Savage still as they work towards the incline.
Savage is not giving up. The champion spirit is keeping him alive. He's just about a couple ramps down below here. But this is where JannisZ was able to kind of push the lead a little bit further, and Savage made that mistake here. All eyes are on Savage on the top of your screen, way back in the distance here. What did you see, Shayo?
I saw JannisZ maybe make a slight mistake on the dash when he was moving all the way down, but at the same time, he has that lead on Savage. He has a huge lead, too, on the 90s moving up, but he messes up one ramp. Savage catches up slightly, but at the same time, doesn't have the same speed and movement that JannisZ does. He is literally attracted to the roof like there's a magnet up there, and he has the opposite force within his body. He is building straight all the way towards the sky, and nothing can stop this man when he has his mission in his sights. JannisZ wins 2-0. JannisZ might have set another record, and it's JannisZ that moves on towards the finals.
JannisZ punches his ticket in and sends Savage out of the competition. Savage with an unbelievable run coming in third place here, but it was just way too much efficiency for JannisZ. Savage is there. He was there the entire time, but it was right there in the waterfall sequence was able to be that big factor that gave JannisZ the victory there.
Yeah, Savage running the whole course, and I guess we're learning now that JannisZ actually ended up just having wings the entire time too, so he has that slight edge. He's got the techs, and he honestly just makes it look cleaner than everyone else. It's like he's lived and was born in this course with a time of 2:16.
Holy.
He's getting close to the world record, which is only 2 points ahead, and he's broken his own record to get towards this spot. I mean, he might have lost at some point. He is in the lower bracket, but it just looks like, you know, he's rising from the ashes. He's making it out of the pit with no scratches on him whatsoever, coming out a new man, and honestly scarier than any other competitor we've seen so far.
I just saw Levin in my camera feed right here who had the biggest smile and go, oh boy, Tayson's in for a battle here, because JannisZ has been breaking records, but can he break the run that Tayson has been undefeated here? He's gonna need a bracket reset to be able to take it all. Tayson has to go down twice, something that no one has done before, but if there's only one person that can do it, Shayo, it is JannisZ.
Hey, it might not be Steamy Stacks, but somehow these guys always find each other side by side when they're going for the big grand prize. It'll be JannisZ versus Tayson, a man made of speed versus someone who doesn't know how to lose. I mean, who is really going to be taking this thing away? I know it's called high tiers because we honestly have the highest tier of stories and competitions in this building skill battle experience, Sancho. It's so hard to call who's going to win this one.
I feel like the air up here is different, man. There's not a lot of oxygen, you know what I'm saying? We talked about being at height. They've broken through that barrier. They're beyond height right now. We're talking about two solo champions, one from the Invitational, one from Chapter 2, Season 3, coming into it. And we talked about it before. They've been teammates. They had that crazy rotation coming out of Steamy Stacks. They both won their solo championships outside of Steamy Stacks. So this is going to be an exciting thing to see. This is so cool. All-Star Showdown. And this is awesome, man. FNCS the two times FNCS champions here, going for an all-star championship here for the high tier run. This is awesome.
Yeah, the first all-star championship too, so this means a lot to these guys rolling all the way in. It'll start with the 90s. It'll go all the way towards the waterfall. There'll be pressure next, and then after that, they'll have to repeat it all again. Let's see who's gonna be there. JannisZ, Tayson, two men of opposite extremes, and they're gonna be put to the test.
Here we go. It is the first opportunity here to put that first shot across the bow of their opposition here. Two ships right now not running through each other. They're running side by side into the night. Tayson with a little bit of a slip up here, but he's able to reconvene and get back up, and he gets to the platform first over JannisZ. JannisZ has some issues there, and that could be enough to gain the lead a little bit further here, and JannisZ is just behind.
Yeah, Tayson might have slipped, but JannisZ almost falls right there. He's going to try to make up some time. We know that JannisZ is very, very fast when it comes to actually navigating around those pressure bots, so Tayson's going to be the first one to waterfall. JannisZ will try to catch up slightly behind. He could risk this too. Sancho, you've said it. No one's actually gone down to fall damage in these waterfalls, but when the pressure is high in grand finals, that could be the case.
Would it be the worst time to do that? And Tayson taking some fall damage and just survives. That's a little bit here. And now he's pushing through to the snakes here, moving fast like a black mamba, waking through to the sands of down below, avoiding that lava that is right there below as Tayson has a big lead against JannisZ. And you may think, Sean, so it's just a couple of grids, but when Tayson's ahead here, he has no signs of slowing down. And JannisZ, we cannot forget, just competed, could be a little bit tired going into this finals matchup.
Taking more shots on the scene take before, but every time you do get shot, that means you're not building, you're not turning, you have more speed. Let's not forget that JannisZ holds all the records today. He set them himself, he's broken them himself, and yeah, he might have been in the lower bracket. He could be losing now, but there's 2 rounds here. As long as you have the fastest time in any round, you end up the champion. Tayson is looking, Sancho, to basically do it flawless. He wants to have a fast time here right now. He wants to beat JannisZ and keep him down.
If Tayson has finally reached his final form, we may have already seen JannisZ's final form of clicking in that 2 minutes and 16 seconds, but Tayson as well. We haven't yet to seen the best times from him. He's been floating around 2 minutes and 20 seconds, but he may have picked the right opportunity to go all out as JannisZ kind of hit that invisible wall right there, kind of came a little bit too high.
Yeah, it looks like he's struggling slightly on the fall. The pressure might be catching up to him. Meanwhile, Tayson, he's high, mighty, and free. The question is, his 90s are very inefficient. This is very, very easy for JannisZ to catch up in. Not only in 90s, it looks like right now, but a good record score. Okay,
my God.
Tayson, the 7th 90 he messed up. How? JannisZ is struggling too. Is it the server? Is it the players? It doesn't matter. Tayson is the one all the way towards the top. He locks it in. He wins for now, but that time, Sancho, it's very, very beatable.
Very beatable indeed, as Tayson's 90s here at the home stretch became 96 degrees, 98 degrees. It wasn't clean at all, and that could be that opportunity that JannisZ could take. We've been seeing all day, has the fastest record time at 2:16, but hey, at least Tayson gets that first victory. He basically has the advantage here in the matchup because now JannisZ has to not only beat Tayson, but the clock as well.
Absolutely. I don't think he even recognizes there anyone beside him in terms of JannisZ. JannisZ literally just moved by 222. Yeah,
that's beatable.
He literally just had a practice round. JannisZ doesn't care who's rocking in the other lane. All this man cares about is just breaking his own record over again. You were talking about it at the start of the show, Sancho, right? Is anyone here really concerned about what the fastest time is across all the regions? I said no before. I'll answer yes for this one in terms of JannisZ. I mean, this guy's looking for maximum speed. There were errors from both sides there, but I feel like with one more match here for JannisZ to stay in the competition, he could still break that record.
And he's also looking for an opportunity to reset the bracket. If Tayson loses here, with JannisZ gets that past that time of 2 minutes and 22 seconds or so, if he does that, then it gets a bracket reset. We only seen that in the NA East in terms of on the broadcast with Macwood and Edgy. We're able to get that job done, do the NA Classic here. So the question is, can Tayson starve off JannisZ from resetting the bracket? That's going to be what's on the line here. And as well, $2,500. That's the difference between first and second.
Yeah, and first is 10K at the end of the day. That is a huge lump sum of cash going to that one individual entirely. So we'll see exactly how stuff rolls out when I'm looking at this high tier challenge and I'm looking at these two competitors and the time. This is just, it just feels like that first round didn't happen. This is just more pressure for JannisZ entirely. He just has one chance now to beat that time, and Tayson must hold him back.
Here we go. JannisZ has to beat a time of 2:22, and as well his former teammate of Tayson here. We saw some hiccups, a lot from these competitors surprisingly, and it was early on in the 90s portion, Shio.
It was, and right now it's gonna be fine. A lot of mistakes were happening in 90s from both sides, but looks like everything's reset. The mental's fresh. JannisZ overturns slightly. Tayson doesn't grab the top in the most efficient way. Because of this, now JannisZ has the lead. Business as usual for the big man. Every time we see him with this half-second lead, Sancho, he ends up breaking a record.
JannisZ is now racing towards the next checkpoint. Has about a 2-grid lead against, it's the waterfall that's been working really well for JannisZ here. Last time in that waterfall, he went a little bit too far and hit the barrier of the stage. Now he makes his way through to the snake tunnels, and hey, it doesn't matter here if Tayson falls. It's all about JannisZ trying to be in that 2:22 time, which we know he can do. He can easily do. All he has to do is just keep it up. Keep up that momentum. Don't do anything crazy just yet, because you could get that bracket reset, and then I think all the pressure then goes back to Tayson.
Oh, but right there for JannisZ, the pressure might be on now, saying it was pretty much perfect right now. Maybe just a slight overturn in the beginning. He runs into his wall. This has only happened once before, Sancho, and when it did,
no!
he went 222. When it does now, he goes down, and that could be it. Tayson rolling with it, absolutely flawless. High tier with the highest player. Oh my goodness. Tayson, you're just too clean.
JannisZ has been perfect all day and picked a bad time to get eliminated. The turnover was crucial. Levin in the back cheering and clapping his hands as Tayson now is making a victory lap. Still, some things could go wrong, but right now, Tayson, it could be your high tier champion.
Hey, cut the check and remember the fine print. Tayson is on his victory lap before the map is even finished. He's going straight towards the sky. These might be the happiest 90s you'll ever see in your entire life. 90s that lead you all the way towards $10,000 on that grand prize. Tayson is going to take it all the way towards the top, the #1 spot on the podium, and he never dropped the map the entire day through.
Cranking his way up through the clouds, up through the finish line, and Tayson securing the bag, baby. $10,000 and a victory. Let's go, Tayson. Whoa!
I mean, predicted from some people, improved throughout the entire process, and took down Titans the entire day, the whole bracket through. He had a big type of plan rolling in, and that's just literally be better, be faster, and then have much faster 90s too towards the end. You have to adjust that part or it would not be possible. I mean, he looked so good throughout the day, Sancho, and he did it all from the winner's bracket.
It looks like Freemok's ghost was able to embody that bot and take out JannisZ at the very end. We saw JannisZ being a little bit more reckless when it comes to the tunneling, trying to catch up to Tayson's speed. And Tayson was undefeated all day here and walks away champion in a very respectable time of 2 minutes and 21 seconds. But what an unbelievable run from Tayson. That was really awesome to watch. Two FNCS, let me try this again. Two-time FNCS champions go head-to-head, Shayo.
I mean, 2 friends and hopefully still friends and not former friends after this one, because that was really close. I mean, that's it for us, though, for high tier. We got more competitions coming out throughout the whole week. We're going to toss it back over to the desk. I want to see how hyped these guys are going to be.
Listen, Levin's real hype right now. I believed in you, JannisZ. It was so close. You know what? I think it's true. Somehow Freemok entered the game and said, JannisZ, I'm just going to shoot a special bullet that's going to puncture through the wall that you've edited. So we're just going to run the whole competition back. That one doesn't count. Man, congratulations, Tayson. I mean, Levin, they said it. This guy did not drop a game. Holding on strong. You and Sancho West looking real big brain right now.
Hey, look. MrSavage outdated, JannisZ overrated, Tayson activated. What are we really doing here? Was it ever in doubt? Do you know what I mean? Like the 10K all in his pocket. It's not even all in his pocket. He's sending some to me because Coach Levin came in clutch with the 90s advice, and now that he's able to convert it into the Victory Royale. So look, I'm proud of Tayson regardless. All the competitors today were phenomenal, and we do have to give props to JannisZ, right? We have to give props to JannisZ because he came in with the fastest time on multiple occasions. He literally broke his record on multiple occasions, but when it mattered most, he couldn't get it done against Tayson, and so that's it.
It was a real shame because, like you mentioned, he was the fastest, repeatedly the fastest, but just was not able to hold himself up to that standard when it mattered in the finals. You know, I called him the underdog. You mocked me, but unfortunately, he didn't end up actually picking up that first place. And let's be real, Tayson didn't lose a single match all game, all day. He was on absolute fire. To be honest, like, that was real tough for JannisZ just to be able to drop out in that last moment. The bot picking him up with that single headshot, you know, when you drop below that 50 HP, you're one bullet to the head from any of those AI can pick you up, and that's exactly what happened. So real tough to see him. He's been such a good performer, but remember, JannisZ, second place, still $7,500. Tayson first with $10,000. You know, Savage in third with 5,000. That's not too shabby.
Hey, look, I don't want to put too much pressure on him, yeah, but this ain't the only high-tier competition Tayson might be winning this week. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. I am just putting it out there. But look, regardless, the performance today, you can see JannisZ, he was so efficient, but in that final moment, he looked a bit like Aqua out there, do you know what I mean? Getting taken out by them. But nevertheless, in any case, Tayson came through clutch in the end, and I'm just so filled with joy. I am just so filled with joy. It is so satisfying to see, you know, when you put hard work in as a coach, to see it pay out.
That one message was hard work.
To see it pay out, it's so satisfying. This is why I coached, you know what I mean? This is why I do it. This is why I do it.
Wow. Apparently this is how it goes, huh? How do you feel about that, Reese? I mean... Here we are. Apparently, you and I were here for the broadcast, and Levin was just in the background, just like, all right, Tayson, here we go. You got to fix these mistakes. Make sure that you do that, and I'll take 50%. All right, see you at the end.
He's been on the desk doing his own work. No one else said that we weren't allowed to be biased. I've got my biases to player. Levin clearly has his with his coaching status. Clearly now what you should consider an elite coaching status from this, because Tayson has performed so well today. And like you kind of alluded to already, Levin, he has to be a top pick going into the Saturday solo competition, which, let's be real, even before today, he was obviously one of the top picks anyway.
Yeah, 100%. And do you know what I mean? It's a couple extra pennies to pick up along the way to the big prize. The big boy prize on Saturday. That's what we're all going to be talking about. But not bad picking up anything from today. Let's take a look at the whole competition, how it all unfolded, because we started off the day with JannisZ looking like the man to beat, which he was for a lot of the day. He picked off Freemok rather swiftly, and all round, a lot of these were incredibly entertaining, Reese.
They absolutely were. And to be honest with you, Flikk was someone who surprised me a lot in this, because in his first opening match number 3, it was not going too well. It was pretty shambolic. He got floored by Tayson, but then he really turned it on, coming out into the kind of lower bracket side, hitting some big personal. He was one of the only other players to get under 220, being in the 219 as well. Started to make his way through, but then he comes across JannisZ, who was just an unstoppable force up until he comes across Tayson again.
Yeah, 100%. I think there were a lot of people who I expected to maybe do a bit better. Do you know what I mean? I expected Rezon to make a bit of a run. I was sort of hyping him up before, but he wasn't able to replicate the success of his teammate Noah Riley. Either way, do you know what I mean? To think that you could sort of bottom out at the bottom and you can still pick up a couple bit of, a couple dollars to per se, that's not too bad. It's not too bad. So I'm sure all the boys are going to be happy that they were able to even get a chance to compete. Do you know what I mean? JannisZ might feel a bit hard done by, because the fastest time, you don't get a prize for the fastest time. You just got to beat the man that is the man to beat, and he couldn't do that. And so it ended poorly for him. But you know what? He also is someone who on Saturday is going to, have a lot to play for, and is going to be expected to pull out a big performance.
Well, at least in the future, if he's ever sitting in a call, he's in Discord, he's speaking to Tayson, he can be like, yeah, you won. But, that time I had, I could have beat you. I could have beat you at that same point.
Yeah, Tayson's going to send a screenshot of his bank account. He's going to send a screenshot of his bank account. What are you going to say then? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Absolutely insane day. And to think we still have 2 more sets of this. We have NA East, we have NA West. Boys, I'm curious to see if anyone in NA East or West are watching and they're like, okay, they're trying to understand these strategies going in. Maybe they can utilize them. Maybe there's stuff out there we have yet to see. I can't imagine that there is, but I mean, I honestly never thought I was going to start the day with someone dropping down a single layer and just ignoring like the first 80% of the run. So I don't know. Do you think there could be something coming out later on that we haven't seen? Maybe you're like, I like this strategy, refine this thing. What do you think, Levin?
The beauty of Fortnite is that there is so much room for creativity, especially in creative itself, right? So who knows what we could see. Like you, I did not expect to see what we did see. So who knows, maybe something will come out. I'm not going to put any money on it per se, but definitely you could expect something from one of these smaller regions to maybe be working on it a bit longer. Maybe they found something quirky to pull out.
Well, the thing is, you got to think for the EU players, the regions that have come before them, OCE, Asia, Middle East, they're not necessarily being shown exactly what they're doing like we have on the broadcast here, starring EU. This is the first region that's broadcasted, so every region after this will be able to see exactly what the strategies are for the EU region, have that little bit of time to improve on them, in particular because there's a little gap where Brazil is, so the NA East and the NA West players have time to practice the strategies that they've seen here in EU, implement them into their own gameplay, and then get faster times. That's kind of exactly what we saw from kind of the NA East and NA West regions yesterday as well, implementing the same strategies we saw in the Bullseye Bonanza, along with the blueprint as well.
That's right. Yeah, regions, look, NA East, NA West, y'all best be running these courses, all right? I don't want to go over there to NA East or NA West and see y'all dropping these things, making these mis-edits, falling down where you shouldn't be falling down. Listen, boys, I don't want none of that, all right? This is a competition. Bring your A game. But that's pretty much it for all things here in Europe. It has been an absolute blast hanging out with Reese and Levin. Of course, you want to give them a follow, give Sancho West and Shy Wager a follow. And don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow, this time for Play for Keeps. But still have NA East, still have NA West. If you want more high-tier action, come back a little bit later on And we're going from NA East right into NA West. So until then, Fortnite fam, we love you, and we'll see you guys on the battle bus. Beep, beep.